vote in the general election.
The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. From the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, it's the Los Angeles Raiders versus the Seattle Seahawks. Brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by Canon. So advanced, Canon is the world's leader in 35mm photography.
It's showdown time in the West as we take a look at the standings. The Raiders in Denver, well, they're tied for first with a record of 6-2. Seattle, they're disappointed. At the midway point, their record is 4-4. They're in a position now where they have to win. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones. This is Merlin Olsen. And Chuck Knox said it all for the Seahawks this week. He said there are big games, and then there are big games. And this is the third.
Charlie, the Seattle Seahawks in a desperate situation. If they lose today, they go 3 back. These two teams always play intensely against each other. No question about it. It is a bad blood game, and I expect to see some of those flare-ups out there today.
But who is the intimidator?
Well, I'll tell you, these Raiders usually are the intimidators, but Seattle, in their reaction to the Raiders, is so intense and so physical that often they are the instigators of the violence on the field.
Seattle won the toss. They will be receiving. That means that Chris Barr will be kicking off to one of these two men, either Paul Scansey, number 82, or Randall Morris, number 43. And we are underway in the Kingdome. And here is Scansey at the 5, to the 15. And a nice return for Paul Scansey, 28-yard line. So the Seahawks go to work in their own territory behind the quarterback, Dave Craig, who you saw. And here is that offense. Young, Kreider, Millard, Bush, Bailey, and Essing, of course, Charlie Young, the tight end. The wideouts are Steve Largent and Darrell Turner. And in the backfield, Craig at quarterback. Andre Hardy replacing the injured David Hughes. Kurt Warner with that ankle injury last week. He carried the ball only 3 times, scheduled to start. Said to Merlin and myself yesterday, I will go as long as I can go. We'll just have to wait and see. And Largent is in motion. And here is Warner. And he has a couple of yards to the 30-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 8 as Reggie McKenzie is the man who stopped him. Not a good start, and I'll tell you why. The reason is he needs to break a couple of 7- or 8-yard gains right off of the bat. He being Kurt Warner, then that ankle won't bother him near as much. Now let's look at the defense. The front 3, Long, Piquel, and Alzado. Boy, they are tough. Van Pelt, Millen, McKenzie, and Martin, the 4 linebackers. And this is the basic set. Hayes, Davis, McElroy, and Haynes. Turan may be in there. McElroy is starting. He'll stay in as long as he can at free safety. He's got a problem with a hamstring. 2nd down and 8. So we've set the cast of characters, or at least the first half. And we've got some jumping on the right side. It's Brian Millard, the offensive right guard of the Seahawks. Everybody is wound very tightly for this game, Merlin.
Number 71, offense, 2nd down.
Both teams emotional, Charlie, and one of the things that the Seahawks are going to have to do is to get their running game going. You see Millard jumping off sides there. They have not been able to run effectively over the past few weeks. That means that there's a lot of extra pressure on the quarterback, and boy, you don't want to give the Raiders room to lean their heads back.
Ball's in the wrong spot. Fisher spotted the ball at the 22, should be at the 25-yard line. Now they're making that correction.
Good eye, Charlie.
Maybe the officials are wound tightly also.
Well, I think everybody is intense. Those officials certainly expecting a physical game. I'm sure they're going to try to keep a handle on that.
2nd down and 13. The ball at the 25-yard line. Seahawks in their own territory. And here is Warner. And has only a yard from the 25 to the 26. So it'll be 3rd down and 12. Lyle Alzado was there to make first contact for the Raiders.
Charlie, even though the Seahawks want to establish the running game, the thing you have to remember is the area that the Raiders have improved on most since last year is running defense. They're now 2nd in the league against the rush, and that was an area where you could hurt them last year.
Now they've got to throw. Warner goes out. We're in the shotgun, and that means that Dan Ross will be the back in the shotgun. And we show motion with Scansey. And going deep into double coverage. Lester Hayes was there for the defense. Darrell Turner, the intended receiver, and it was no contest.
Not at all. Lester had drifted off deep, and he was well ahead of the receiver. Turner just bounced that ball away. It was his only chance.
Dave Fincher will be kicking. Now, interesting, Mike Haynes came out for the Raiders as if he was going to return the punt, and then Fulton Walker, of course, the man everybody expected, comes out to replace him. Here's pressure, and a good kick. Walker at the 29-yard line. Slips a tackle. Has about 5, maybe 6 on the return. A 43-yard kick.
Ball stripped away. That's something the Seahawks have not been doing as well this year. They had 8 takeaways on their special teams last year, 0 so far this season.
We expect, of course, a defensive battle. And the defenses, you'd rate them almost equally. Special teams, they're in the same category. So it may all come down to the 2 quarterbacks.
The pressure is on our 2 quarterbacks today. There they are, Mark Wilson, Dave Craig, and there are their numbers on the season. Craig is off 2 bad weeks, but leads the NFL in touchdown passes. They need to get a good game from him today. It's Wilson's turn right now. Let's see how he does.
From the Los Angeles 34-yard line. And here's Marcus Allen. Has a yard to the 35. Jacob Green makes the tackle. Let's go to NFL 85.
Charlie, coming into today's game, the Browns were 0-15 in their history at Three Rivers Stadium. Make it 0-16. Less than 10 seconds to play. Gary Anderson from 25 yards out, 10-9 Pittsburgh. Last year at Three Rivers, Anderson's kick with 5 seconds to go beat the Browns.
Thank you, Rob. We appreciate the update. And here we have no score. 12.5 minutes time remaining. First quarter. The Raiders on offense for the first time. And Wilson goes deep. Double coverage. Interception. John Harris with the interception. First turnover of the ball game. And listen to the reaction in the Kingdom.
Turnovers have been a big story in the matchup between these 2 teams, and it starts off in the favor of Seattle right here. Harris just reading that ball as it's underthrown. Not near far enough for Jesse Hester, and Harris is able to take it back and put it down just outside of the 40.
So Seattle goes to work. They mark it at the 39-yard line. And Kurt Warner comes inside a couple of yards to the 41, so it'll be second down and 8. And Bill Pickell, the middle guard in the defense for the Raiders, the man who made the tackle. We talked to Kurt Warner yesterday, and there are the key matchups with the running back.
No question that the 2 most important people to your running game on the field, Warner and Marcus Allen. Look at the percentage of the running game that they have accounted for. 72% for Warner and 75% for Marcus Allen.
And today, of course, we expect Marcus Allen to stay at that 75% mark. The ankle injury bothering Kurt Warner. How long he will last, only time will tell.
He is running very well right now. Charlie, he's not stopping himself out there right now. He's being stopped.
That's
John Harris on the sideline. Looks like he may have stretched a hamstring. They're checking his ham there, stretching it out. We'll keep an eye on him. There are the statistics that'll just jump out of you at you. In the last 6 meetings between these 2 teams, including 2 playoff teams, 12 takeaways for the Raiders, 28 for the Seahawks.
And we'd like to welcome those of you that have been watching the Cincinnati-Buffalo game here in the Kingdom. We have no score between the Los Angeles Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks with 10:52 left to go in the first quarter. Into double coverage on this side. Darrell Turner, the intended receiver. Lester Hayes was there once again. A little pushing and shoving. Let's go to Bob Costin.
New England scored twice in the fourth quarter to go in front of Miami 17-13. Then this interception of a Dan Marino pass in the closing moments locks it up. New England beats the Dolphins 17-13 at Foxborough.
Thank you for the update, Bob. That's one of those cases where New England always defeats Miami. Miami cannot defeat the Patriots in New England, nor can the Patriots defeat Miami in Miami. It's almost it's a given every year. Fincher will be kicking, and Fulton Walker is set for the punt return. Good high kick. It just hangs it up. He'll have to call for the fair catch, and he does. And takes it to the 23-yard line. 37 yards on the catch, on the kick rather. And Los Angeles will have the ball for the second time in the ball game. We have 10 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter. We have no score. And here's a rundown of the scores. The update just a moment ago: New England 17, Miami 13. Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland 9. Washington back on the track against Atlanta. Houston by 3 over Kansas City. Chiefs really struggling now, and Houston's starting to come on. Minnesota by 3 over Detroit. Detroit thought they could win that one, but they have trouble winning on the road. But they can really win at home. Wilson, far side, pass is complete to Marcus Allen, and Marcus steps out of bounds. And we have one more final for you. Cincinnati 23 and Buffalo 17. The line of scrimmage now the 29-yard line. And it'll be second down and 4. Doki Williams comes wide to the near side. The rookie number 1 draft choice Jesse Hester wide to the far side. Marcus to the 32. Has 3. It'll be third down and 1. Keith Butler makes the tackle. We'd like to welcome those of you who've been watching the Miami-New England, and also those of you that have been watching the Kansas City-Houston game, to the Kingdome in the great Northwest. The Raiders and Seattle, no score in the first quarter now, moving on the 10-minute mark, time remaining. There's been one turnover. John Harris with an interception for the Seahawks.
Mark Wilson cannot hear, and he steps away, and that just ignites this crowd. This is one of the noisiest stadiums. Look at the megaphones. Now, that's a promotion throughout the NFL this year. And what that does, I think, Charlie, it's always noisy in here. But right now, they're aiming those little megaphones down at the field. And I think that'll intensify the noise on the field. And Wilson said, what in the world's going on here? They're going to penalize me? The official saying, in essence, that it was not loud enough to justify Wilson walking away from the ball, and they're calling for delay.
And so they move the ball back to the 27-yard line. Rather than 3rd and 1, it is 3rd and 6.
Now, Charlie, a veteran quarterback, if he looks down and sees he's running out of time, very often, if there's enough noise, may try to say, hey, it's too noisy in here. Sometimes they get away with it. He didn't get away with it on that particular occasion. And listen to the crowd now.
It is caught with the tight end Todd Christensen. His first reception of the ball game, has the first down at the 35. Leading receiver in the NFL, and Kenny Easley makes the tackle.
When you got a tough situation, you go to a money player. Todd Christensen is a money player. He has great hands and just an amazing ability to find the open territory, working on one of the toughest of all the safeties in the NFL. And look at Easley attack Christensen to try and strip that ball away. But Christensen hung on to that football, picked up a valuable first down.
That is the 49th reception for Todd Christensen and a 51st straight game. Ooh. Marcus Allen from the 35 to the 42. They may mark at the 43-yard line. That'll be 8, so it'll be second down and a couple. John Harris makes the tackle. Now let's set that Raiders offense with Davis, Hanna, Mosbar, Marvin, Lawrence, and the tight end, Todd Christensen. Hester and Doki Williams are the wideouts. Mark Wilson, of course, the quarterback, with Allen and Hawkins, the 2 running backs. And that is the offensive set of the Raiders, and we'll show you the defense of the Seattle Seahawks in just a moment that they're operating in. Second down and a pair. No score. 8:25 left to go in the first quarter as Marcus Allen goes over the top trying to pick up the first down, and he may do it. We'll set the defense, and then I want to ask you a question about how do you stop Marcus Allen when he becomes airborne. Bryant, Nash, and Green, the front three. Jackson, Butler, Young, and Schultz, the linebackers. On the corners, Brown and Taylor, Harris and Easley in the secondary. How do you stop Marcus Allen?
Well, I can tell you, Charlie, you can't do it up here in the booth. And I'm glad I can talk about it instead of being down there to try. It is not easy. What you have to try to do is get one of those linebackers airborne at the same time. And you hope for the right kind of collision, and you try and stop him in the air is what you do.
The old mid-air collision. Wilson, good time. Comeback pattern to Doki Williams. And Doki will pick up the first down. He went about 15 or 16 and then came back, picked it up for 12 yards in the first down.
Mark Wilson is really playing well at the moment, Charlie. He's playing injured, though. You might remember he knocked his shoulder down earlier, was playing at that time on a bad ankle. So he's just getting over a couple of injuries, and you see him looking to the sideline. Over the last few games, well, since I guess in maybe the last 3 games, the Raiders have been calling their plays for Wilson, signaling them in from the sideline, and that really has helped him on the field.
And Mark Wilson, a Seattle native, Shorecrest High School. And here's Marcus Allen. A first down at the 43. And he picks up 5 or 6 more yards. And the offense of the Raiders just keeps moving along. Head coach Tom Flores.
Flores, you'll see, will be getting information down from the press box. Ray Wilsey is up there sending down some information along with Tom Walsh. And Larry Keenan, who's standing there with him, is now signaling in the plays. You see the play going into Wilson, and you saw him look down. He has a wristband with the plays listed on his wrist. They're not used to this signaling system yet, so it's something they're still working with. But as I said, it's taken the pressure off Wilson, and he has responded in a positive way.
Second down and 5. 6:19 time remaining. Wilson does not like what he sees, so he'll turn and take a timeout. Now that is the first timeout, but a penalty on the noise, and that just mentioned for a moment, that noise factor that we had, that is going to raise his head several times in the ballgame.
Well, it is, Charlie, and there's no question that the Raiders have been a little psyched out about this. They're worried about it. They brought 4 big speakers out to their practice. They paid $2,000 for them, cranked up 100 to 110 decibels on their practice field, and they've also done something for their offensive linemen. The linemen, they feel, are perhaps the worst. Their heads are down, so they have taped the opposite ear hole shut for the linemen to try and eliminate some of the noise, and they have an earplug in that ear as well. You see how they put some duct tape. That's expensive stuff, Charlie. Duct tape over the outside ear, so if you're on the right-hand side, it'll be the right side that's closed. On the left-hand side, you'd close the left-hand side.
Now, when Denver came in here last year, now they talked about earplugs and all that kind of, does something like this, does taping the helmet, having the speakers at practice, does that make you worry about it? Does it make it larger than it really is? Is it too big a deal?
There's always a danger in that, an overreaction, Charlie. But the noise and the impact on the game and on the players is real. There's no question. There you see the helmet right there. That's Charlie Hanna. You see that on that side it's taped shut. Those linemen on the near side will have the other ear hole taped shut. Most bar the center, he said, heck, I can hear. He said, I'm close enough, I can hear. I'm not going to worry about it. But there's no question that the noise has an impact. It's hard to hear the signals, and it's terribly hard to hear the audibles.
And as you saw, Tampa Bay's getting closer, but they still lost. 22-20. Second down and 5. No score here. Raiders with the ball. Tipped, almost intercepted. Doki Williams, the intended receiver, Bruce Schultz, went up for it and had a chance at it.
Schultz had his hands on that football, and these Seahawks are not intercepting at the same pace as they did last year. They're pretty close to being on pace. There is Tom Catlin. A very simple signal from Catlin. This defense has worked together for a long time. He's the defensive coordinator, sending in the call to the field.
6 minutes and 13 seconds time remaining in the Kingdom. We're in the first quarter. I'm Charlie Jones along with Merlin Olsen. The Raiders and the Seahawks, the battle of the West. And the pass is incomplete. Doki Williams, the intended receiver. It was 3rd and 5 at the Seattle 38. It'll be 4th down and 5. Terry Taylor was there for the Seahawks. And Ray Guy is in just to try and place the ball inside the 10-yard line.
Oh, he has done so well at that this year. Leads the league in kicks out of bounds inside the 20. And as he has gotten older, he has gotten more mature, has learned to use his talents. really has amazing numbers, Charlie.
That's a nice way of stating it. I like the
well,
way.
those graybeards find a way to do it.
That's true. That's true. Guy kicking to Paul Scancer. And he'll go for that opposite corner, inside the 20. And he will get it inside the 20, right out at the 15. He wanted about 5 more, but he'll take it. 23 yards. He's got it, though. The Seahawks have the ball first down at their own 15. We'll be back.
If you think spending a ton of bucks is the only way to get into a refined road car these days, then you sure don't know about this one. Because once you get to know how special Mazda's new 626 is, you'll be asking, why do the other guys cost so much?
Mazda's new 626 Sport sedan is here with a more responsive fuel-injected engine and refined aerodynamics. Enjoy a high-performance road car without paying the price.
It all makes sense to me.
Give me a light. Whoa. A Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer...
Hey, can I have a light?
Whoa! You never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. No, Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Companies, you know them all. They believe in liberty, Liberty Mutual Insurance.
For over 30 years, Liberty Mutual has helped us make London Fog a safer place to work. That's why we believe in liberty. After all, we know something about protection, too.
America believes in liberty, Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Thus far in the ball game, Dave Craig is 0 for 2. Kurt Warner, 4 carries, 6 yards total offense for the Seahawks with 6:02 to go in the first quarter, 6 yards. Not an impressive offensive
It's not impressive, Charlie, but they've done one thing that they felt they had to do against the Raiders. They've thrown it deep several times. The percentages on those deep passes, and this is a Raider axiom, are not good, but if you get one, it's worth it all.
Tegnock told us he was going to do that yesterday. He wanted to stretch him out. We asked him immediately, isn't that a change of philosophy? He says, of course it is. This pass to Darrell Turner, out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Mike Haynes was there for the defense. Now for an update is Bob Costas.
Charlie, the Bears managed to beat the Packers today 16-10, and this was part of it. William the Refrigerator Perry catches the 4-yard touchdown pass, does a little dance. Walter Payton rushed for 192 yards in the game, and the Bears are 9-0.
Merlin, did you ever want to carry the ball or be a receiver?
Sure, every lineman wants to do that, Charlie, but boy, I tell you, that's embarrassing for Green Bay's defense.
2nd down and 1, a gain of 9 on the previous play. Here's Kurt Warner just trying to splice into. Now, here's where Kurt Warner is so good. Almost every other running back would have been stopped around a yard gain, and he simply gets yardage when it's not there. Charlie,
I'm surprised that the Seahawks didn't throw on that 2nd and short. That's almost a giveaway down. On the down previous, that little out pattern for Turner, though, that was the dividend being paid on those deep shots early. Yep. Here is the percentage of the running game for the Seahawks. You can see the change over the last 3 years. This year in particular, partly because they're losing, but also because they've had to lean more and more heavily on the passing game as they just haven't been able to run.
First down, Seattle, their 28-yard line. Little play action fake. There's pressure. The pass is deep, and it is complete to Largent, and he's out of bounds. Just shy of the 40-yard line. And for Steve Largent, that is consecutive game 116 as the streak continues. He's aiming for Harold Carmichael in 127 games.
Right at the end of the play, Largent is a master. Look at him get those toes down. And one thing he may have gotten away with on that play, he was juggling that football a little bit. Right toward the end, the official calling a completion. They moved the ball out just barely nosed up on the 40-yard line.
First down, Seattle, no score, 5:11 time remaining. We're in the first quarter. Almost in a feeling out period. Here's Kurt Warner. And he has 3 to the 43. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Patel makes the tackle, and the flag is down.
Well, I think they threw the flag on Mellon for using a forearm rip on somebody, or here it is. Well, and this is one of the things that happens in a game where you're playing against a rival you meet as many times. These teams have met 6 times in the last 2 years in games that counted. And these people just don't like each other that well. Watch Miller, number 55. He'll see him coming back in on Kurt Warner right here. Standing up. Here's the shot. Whoa, we're going to miss the shot, but it's just off the right-hand side of your screen. Little battle going on, someone trying to block Millen, and he just ripped him with a forearm.
At the Los Angeles 42-yard line with the penalty, it's first down. Personal foul. 15-yarder. No score. 4:52 and counting. Time remaining. We're in the first quarter at the Kingdom. Craig to throw. A holding call will go against the Raiders. This is complete to Largent. It'll be a gain of 10. It's not going to stand up.
Charlie, I'm impressed so far, even though there was a holding on that play, with the kind of protection that Zorn is getting. This Raider defense just attacked Dan Fouts last week. I said Craig. Zorn is in Green Bay.
We were watching Zorn in the Green Bay game.
We were watching him play earlier, but Craig is getting excellent protection.
Holding, number 59, offense, first down.
Holding on Blair Bush, the center.
The Raiders getting 6 sacks last week against San Diego, but even more importantly, hit him 21 times after he released the ball, and that kind of beating really pays giant, ugly dividends against an offense. There you saw the call being thrown on one of the interior linemen for Seattle.
First down and 20. Seahawks ball at their own 48-yard line. 4-man rush. Little swing out to the right side, and this is Andre Hardy. A flag is down as Hardy goes to the 50-yard line. Possibly a face mask call. Reggie McKenzie was there.
Reggie knew it. He knew it, Charlie, and that's the kind of mistake that's very costly. You've got a team backed up. Long yardage, and that'll give them an automatic first down, I believe.
Andre Hardy recently joining the Seahawks. He is there, of course, because of Dan Dornick out with a knee injury. Dornick on injured reserve, cannot come back this week, can come back next week. Hardy signed as a free agent. He was the Eagles' number 5 draft choice in '84 out of St. Mary's College and Hoover High School in San Diego.
Unnecessary roughness, number 56 on the defense, will be declined. Face mask, number 54 on the defense, 15 yards, first down.
That's the big penalty. They're calling him for tackling by the face mask. And Charlie, I don't think he had the face mask. I think he had a hold of the shoulder, and it looked like he had the mask. I couldn't see the mask at the last minute there. I couldn't see him tackling with it. Maybe we can see it better from this angle. Well, no, it's from the backside. There he has the shoulder. He has the jersey, and it looked like he had the mask.
And with the other hand underneath, he has the shoulder pad, and when he jerks it, it looks as if the head is jerked down as if he had him by the mask.
Well, that's an unfortunate penalty, but that comes with the Raider reputation. And that comes with the kind of things that some of these Raider teams have done in the past, but they're going to get some unfair flags. That one was unfair.
First down at the 34-yard line of Los Angeles. The Raiders in last Monday night's game against San Diego were not penalized in the second half. Here's Kurt Warner. 32-yard line, just a couple. Second down and 8. And Howie Long makes the tackle. First quarter, the Jets very quickly out in front of Indianapolis. San Francisco leading Philadelphia 7-0. Rams leading New Orleans 7-0. Phone home. Wait, did you left it?
Well, the Seattle fans are a little frustrated. They expected so much this year, and a 500 season at the midway point is not what they had in mind.
Kurt Warner, 7 carries, only 15 yards. Oh, he got an isolation. Darrell Turner, single coverage by Mike Hayes. That's what he wanted. Had just about half a step on it.
One-on-one, and Largent was getting some heat. Watch the battle between these two here. Turner gets away, gets enough room here, and you see McElroy trying to get over to help. Simply cannot do it. That ball thrown a little early. Let's go back and look at the kind of heat they're putting on right here. It's Howie Long. Ooh, Warner trying to step in and take Long. Just gets decimated on that play. That's why the ball had to be thrown early.
It's third down and 8. The ball at the 32-yard line. Now, number 75, Howie Long. You'll see. Craig's going to see him coming from the right, from the left, and over the middle. He'll be all around.
He's everywhere on this defense, and they do that deliberately.
Stacy Turan, but he holds on. 21 yards.
The Raiders with extra DBs on the field. The key here is that Craig is able to step up away from the pressure. Right there, got a little extra time, and Largent had simply beaten everyone on that play.
Oh, there was blown assignment. He was all alone in the secondary.
He really had blown. And I think maybe that may have something to do with McElroy's injury, Charlie. They've been scrambling in that secondary.
11-yard line, first down. This drive started back at the 15. Here's Warner. Warner slides to the 6, a gain of 5. Second down and 5. Alzado hit him, and the pushing and shoving continues. Who is the intimidator and who is the intimidatee? Well, you can rank pluses and minuses on both sides. Well, they stand up to each other.
Warner still angry. Let's see what happened on that last play. They're going in behind a little trap lock. It's Hardy coming over from a wing position. There's a shot by Rod Martin on Hardy, who's come out to block him with a trap. I think that started the action right there.
We're moving on the 2-minute mark in the first quarter. No score. The Seahawks moving on the end zone. Timing pass in the corner. Lester Hayes does not look around. There is no flag. Incomplete. Turner, the intended receiver.
Lester Hayes has to read the receiver's eyes. And there goes a flag. We've got some pushing and shoving again. I think still something with Rod Martin. He's coming back into the middle of it. But we mentioned the bad blood between these two teams, and you'll see it showing throughout this game. They simply don't like each other. And they have exhibited that on a number of occasions.
And I think Lyle Alzado is the leader that don't like.
Alzado certainly is the most vocal.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 65 on the offense.
That's Edwin Bailey, the left guard.
And I think there's an indication that the Seattle Seahawks, and Knox said it the other day, he said, we won't be intimidated. I think sometimes, in their desire not to be intimidated, they become the instigators in what's happening on the field.
And I'm also wondering, earlier today in the ballgame between Chicago and Green Bay, there was, I think it started with a fight, and it just continued. And I wonder if that type of play is spilling over into this ballgame. If that is set, in reality, the scene for this rival.
So it could easily be, but Charlie, if we look right now on the field and look at what's happened to that great field
Throwing
position.
the dead ball after an incomplete pass. Lost of down.
That's a loss of what a costly foul. Losing not only the yardage, but also the down. That's about as tough a penalty as you can get, except for an ejection.
So it is third down and 20, the ball back at the 22-yard line. And there was probably a misread. Largent, the intended receiver, he read the coverage so he would come back inside. Craig read the coverage so he'd go back outside. And it is fourth down. That means that Norm Johnson, who had his problems last week, will be kicking. He was 0 for 3.
He certainly did, Charlie. He missed 3 against the Jets. Any one of them could have tied the game. 2 of them could have won it. One of the problems I think he's had is in the hold. He lost his favorite holder, Zorn. Largent is the holder now, and that's very critical. Where you put that ball down. We're going to try and take a look at that during this game to see if we can show you that spotting by the holder. In fact, we'll do it on this play if we have time.
39-yard field goal attempt to break the scoreless tie. And he's got
it. What's this tough guy? Aftershave skin conditioner. I know. I thought I was the only guy with sensitive skin. Every time I shave, I get it right here.
What do you fellas use? Because shaving irritates my whole face.
After. Try it. Looks different. Oh, it's rich. It's a lotion. After soothes razor scrape sensitive skin.
Hey, this feels great. And smells good, too. Terrific.
Sensible care for sensitive skin. Aftershave skin conditioner.
By Menon.
Direct from the future comes the Canon T70. The T70, sleeker to hold, simpler to handle. Controls are now touch button. Data crystal clearly displayed. Film advance built in. The Canon T70 capture computer perfect pictures with the touch of a button. The Canon T70, touch the future now.
Canon, the photographic consultant to the National Football League.
If all you want from a small truck is a bed in the back, then you're not ready for this one. This guy actually handles. And I never thought I'd say that about a truck.
Introducing Mazda's new B2000 SE5. With radial tires, spoker wheels, sporty stripes and mirrors, rear step bumper, a 5-speed and a double-wall bed, all standard and all at a price close to Toyota's and Nissan's base trucks.
Are you ready for something this special? You should be.
Looking back at Zorn's, or not Zorn, but Largent's hand. Let's watch now. We've marked the finger. That's the spot where he's going to put the ball down. He misses it slightly, but not by very much.
That's better.
That's very good. We watched him in practice. And you saw the ball turn. The other job he has is to turn the strings toward the goalpost. Did that beautifully on that play. The result, a successful touchdown, or a successful field goal.
In warm-up, he was missing by 3 or 4 inches, and that can be devastating.
That's hard. That makes the kicker adjust.
Norm Johnson kicking off to either Sam Seal or Fulton Walker. Seahawks lead it 3-0. And at the goal line, here is Sam Seal. And he returns just to the 20-yard line. The Raiders have won 5 in a row. They are going today for their 6th in a row. Now look at these numbers. What does that remind you of?
Charlie, those were very famous numbers for anybody who followed these Raiders. I'll tell you, those years anyway.
Super Bowl win 1, Super Bowl win 2, Super Bowl win 3. They're 3 Super Bowl victorious years. They had those streaks, 5, 6, and 10. This year they have 5. Today going for 6, but trailing 3-0 with just over a minute and a half to go in the first quarter at the Kingdome. Will play action fake, and a flag is down. And while we have this momentary timeout, let's join Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Charlie Jones. In San Diego, this is first quarter action. Dan Fouts finds a wide-open West Chandler, 18-yard touchdown. It's now in the second quarter, but San Diego leads 7-0 over Denver.
Well, right now in the West, we've got a pair of upsets working. I know that it's early, but at least they're working this game and San Diego, Denver. Thank you, Ahmad. Here's Marcus Allen. And Marcus has 5 yards to the 20. Kenny easy with the tackle. He's second down and 10. Now, I made a statement, Merlin, and and the line on the game, the Seahawks are favored by 1. I didn't understand it. I asked you your opinion. You said it's very simple. In reality, the Raiders are favored by 5, but the Kingdome and their fans are favored by 6, and that's +1 for the Seahawks.
I think it's universally agreed, Charlie. This is the toughest stadium to play in the league because of the noise and because of the kinds of intensity these fans generate. I think you've got to give it about 6 points.
Second down at 10. There's Marcus Allen for 5 more to the 25. So it'll be third down and 5. Jeff Bryant with the tackle. Now, you played in the Kingdome at the end of your career. Were they as noisy then? They weren't as successful. Were they as noisy?
They weren't winning a lot in those days, Charlie. And the way to quiet a crowd down is to get ahead. Very simply. And you talk to the Raider coaches and players, they have one objective in this ball game is early on to establish some kind of dominance to quiet this crowd down. They haven't been able to do it so far. They're noisy.
They are. Now, Mark Wilson says the crowd noise is too much. This time, Chuck Ebeling, the referee, agreed with him. If you weren't with us earlier in the ballgame, he thought he had it, stepped away, but the referee said no.
Charlie, you know what he's saying to him right now? He's saying, just stand there and wait. I won't let the clock run out on you. I'll stop the time, but you've got to be ready. Stand there and wait, and that's what the NFL officials are instructing the quarterbacks to do now. Now, if you did what quarterbacks used to do, go back to the huddle and come back out, the crowd is just going to be noisy anyway.
And the same thing happened in the Green Bay-Chicago game right before the touchdown pass to the refrigerator.
The same thing happened, Charlie, to this Raider team back in Cleveland in a critical series right at the end of the ballgame. They had long delays, but they were able to come back on a 60-yard drive. Mark threw a touchdown pass to Todd Christensen with 29 seconds on the clock to win that critical game.
Meanwhile, we've got a double wave going in the Kingdom. Do you like this crowd control rule, or do you like the college rule where they, it's a penalty against the home team and they take a timeout away?
Charlie, I think the NFL is going to have to address this problem because it's taking the action off the field. Mark finally says that's enough waiting. Let's go with the play here.
They're down at 5. Now, another way to stop it, they are testing it. I talked to Jim Arrington of Telex Communications in Minneapolis last night, and that is the microphones in the headset that they experimented with. They had one particularly good ball game in Houston and Dallas. They're going to experiment with the National Football League preseason again next year. So that may be the answer.
I don't think the tape on those helmets is helping, Charlie. Now the Seahawks players are finally motioning to the fans. Let's see if the fans respond to that. Good luck.
All clocks are stopped. There's 21 seconds left to go in the first quarter. That's the tape you were talking about.
There we go.
Toki Williams in motion, reverses. Wilson to throw. Has pressure, goes down. First down.
Jackson, number 24 on the blitz. And after all of that waiting, Mark Wilson catches the blitz. They weren't able to pick it up. He tried to step forward, but Jackson got a hand on him and knocked him down. You'll see Jackson coming from the left side of your screen. They're slanting the line away, and there's no room for Mark to step up. They cracked the cuff on him, and Wilson just couldn't get away.
The crowd delay 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And time has run out in the quarter, but they still are letting the punt go. Guy kicking to Scansey, who fields it at the 29-yard line. The gun went off when the ball was in the air. It's a 53-yard kick, but the time had run out. We'll be back in a moment.
A good idea by itself may go nowhere. It needs other good ideas. Technology from a company called TRW makes the most of ideas by helping them work together. And working together is the best idea in the world. Tomorrow is taking shape at a company called TRW.
Dave Craig was a long shot in the NFL.
They sent me out to throw for you guys.
A free agent, a walk-on. He fulfilled a lifelong dream when he led the Seattle Seahawks to their first playoffs.
My story was a long shot in professional football, but I'm here to tell you another story, a long shot in life. His name is John LaMotta Jr., a three-letter man in football, track, and wrestling. What happened to John is something that could have happened to any one of us.
An automobile accident left him a quadriplegic. Doctors thought he wouldn't make it at first. Then his prognosis was of a life bound to a wheelchair. But John never stopped trying. And the United Way volunteers like Dave Craig at this United Way agency never stopped trying either.
And now I'd like you to meet John. How you doing, John?
Great. And thanks to you, who works for all of us, United Way.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Well, Dave Craig won't have a problem with the crowd, Merlin. This is one of the megaphones that they're giving out, and this is becoming a major problem.
It is in a lot of stadiums, and I think one of the problems is that these fans here are very well educated. They don't make a lot of noise when Craig is calling his signals. When Mark Wilson is out there, it's a different story, and the wave is coordinated too. They won't use that wave when their own offense is moving down the field, but when an opponent's offense is out there, you see all kinds of action in the back, and it's got to be distracting.
Now, can a little megaphone like this make a difference?
It can if it directs the noise down onto the field. These guys can't get any louder up here. These fans can't get any louder, but they can direct that noise at the field.
Now, what happened a moment ago, the time had expired prior to the snap of the ball on the punt. The gun went off when it was in the air. The official stopped the play. We are replaying the punt.
Ray Guy is not happy about that. He kicked a great one.
He had what, a 53-yarder?
53 yards. He's got to try again.
But at least he's not going with or against the wind.
No, that's true, Charlie.
And this is not near as good. This is taken by Kenny Easley, the up back. Easley breaks it to the 40. Easley cuts back to the 35. And hit for the sideline.
Great play by Kenny Easley. Easley, you might remember, was called into service as a punt returner when Paul Johns was hurt last year. Easley comes up. Scansey's the main returner. He's back there to help. And boy, he looks like a running back. 24 yards on that return before they ran him out of bounds.
And Ray Guy, the last kick, 53. This was 20 yards shy, just a 33-yard kick. And that was a bad call by the officials. The first play should never have taken place. Seahawks lead at 3-0. Big opportunity here. Great field position at the 27-yard line. Little play action. Fake and reverse to Largent. Warner, can he get it? He's got it in zone. Touchdown.
Kingdom erupts in celebration. Kurt Warner getting deep down the sideline. A little fake of a reverse right there to Largent. And that opened a little space. But basically, that is just a fine throw and a fine catch. Dive into the end zone. Brad Van Pelt trying to cover man on man. And that's a bad matchup with a linebacker on the running back.
Extra point attempt. Largent to hold. Norm Johnson is blocked. It is blocked. I believe it was Sean Jones, 6'7", 275-pounder.
When Bill bought his new business, he was surprised. Owning a minor league baseball team was a lot like running his insurance company. So Bill called in Team Xerox. Unlike other companies, they thoroughly examined the kind of documents he needed, then recommended compatible equipment, software, and networks. Now, Bill keeps track of salaries and scouting reports with better documents than ever before. And with Team Xerox in the front office, all Bill has to worry about are his players.
In the world of 6-passenger cars, only Dodge Aries K offers a price this low. All the benefits of front-wheel drive, 35 standard features, and a 5-year or 50,000-mile protection plan, all in one car. When it comes to overall value, that makes Aries the best 6-passenger car you can buy. Dodge Aries K. It started an American revolution.
East Point, Maine and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. East Point means a New England clam bake, summer fun, and food at its best. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
Old Milwaukee.
And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste as great as their name.
You know, guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
Today's game is brought to you by Dodge, a performance revolution, an American revolution. By Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. And by the astonishingly simple new Sony Handycam. All the excitement of video movies now in the palm of your hand.
Norm Johnson will be kicking off. A 9-0 ball game. His extra point attempt was blocked. We'll show you that right after the kickoff. Number 43 is Sam Seal. 41 is Fulton Walker. And here's Walker at the 7. And he returns to the 23, maybe the 24-yard line.
Let's look at that last play. Sean Jones, right here, is just going to bury himself in there and use that big, long frame of his to get his arms up in the air. Number 99, watch him stretch out right there. His right arm blocking that ball away. Boy, the penetration and his height paid big dividends on that play. And Jones, the man who knocked it away, Charlie, that could be critical later on in this game.
Number 2 draft choice in 1984 in his second year. Played his collegiate ball at Northeastern. And he has 4 sacks on the year. 9-0 ball game. Seahawks lead it. 13.5 minutes to go in the first half. Wilson, all the time in the world to Marcus Allen. Trips to tackle.
Charlie, one of the reasons that he had all that time to throw is he's getting good protection from his offensive line. On Jacob Green, who's number 79 for the Seahawks, it's 70. Henry Lawrence, who's been down all week with the flu, but he is doing a fine job today. You see the little lock up there, number 70 on 79. Just a couple of bulls banging heads. Little help from Frank Hawkins, number 27, who's back there late on the play. But it turns out to be a nice gain. They'll have about second, 2.5 yards to go.
Raiders need to get something uncranked here in this drive. Intercepted. Keith Butler. With a 32-yard return and was shaken up, and there you see him when he was hit on the sideline.
Mark Wilson can't believe it. Trying to gun this ball to the inside. Looked first at his tight end Christensen, now trying to go into the inside to Dokie Williams, and just a fine play by Butler. I think he read the quarterback's eyes and cut the ball off as it headed in toward Dokie Williams. Dokie, I think the man who ran him down, in fact it was. There he is on the sideline. Again, turnovers proving decisive in this game. And look at that number. We showed it earlier, Charlie. I think it's significant. In the last 6 games, that's 2 years, twice in each year and 1 playoff game, those are the numbers. And look at the numbers today. The Raiders already have given the ball up twice. The Seahawks have not given it up at all.
First down at the Los Angeles 13-yard line. And just a moment ago, Dave Craig threw the touchdown pass to Kurt Warner. That is the 27th straight game that Craig has thrown a touchdown pass. Now only 20 behind Johnny Unitas. So there's a ways to go. That 47 is an unbelievable.
An amazing number. I spent a lot of time looking in at Johnny Unitas. I remember some of those.
First down. I expect Seattle to go right to the end zone. Try to capitalize quickly, and they do. And it is incomplete. Largent is overthrown. And it'll be second down and 10 back at the 13-yard line.
Largent is such a graceful receiver, Charlie. Does not have the blazing speed of some, but look at that footwork. I think Mike Haynes was in the huddle, too. I think he knew it was going long. You see the chuck right there, and you see Haynes looking right into Largent's eyes. Largent never raised his hands because he knew the ball was not catchable. Didn't want Haynes to have a chance at it.
14 minutes and 13 seconds. Time remaining, second quarter. Seahawks lead it. The score is 9-0. Craig he's throwing this one away. He was getting pressure, and Kurt Warner was looking at double coverage, and he was just getting rid of it.
An absolutely amazing rush from Howie Long, number 75. Howie is just devastating in the middle of that line. Number 75. Watch how quick he's off that ball. Just blows by Bob Kreider. Kreider doesn't have a chance on him. Look how, that's just, there's no way. Craig just says, let me get that ball out of here before I get killed. Howie Long. Oh, he is tough.
Now, we mentioned earlier that he moves around all over that defensive line. Now, as a quarterback, is Craig going to come out and say first, where is Howie? He's always to my right or he's to my left. I want to know where he is.
He might have to do that before the day is out, Charlie.
Third down and 10. That is Byron Walker in motion. Looping pass, and it is over the head of Scanson. He couldn't get through it. He tripped just momentarily, but it's just one of those things that happens, and we'll have a field goal attempt.
I asked Bob Kreider about playing against Howie Long, and he said, I had Gastineau last week. He said, when does this thing let up? But he said that one thing that Howie does that Gastineau won't do, he'll attack you. Gastineau will try and get around you, try and finesse you with his great speed. He said, Howie Long just comes on you and tries to kill you.
That's one way of expressing it, yes.
Doesn't look that mean, does he?
No, he doesn't. Norm Johnson 1 for 1 with a 39-yarder. This will be from just outside the 20, so an attempt of 30 yards. Largent to hold. And the hold becoming more and more important as a key, and he's got it. Good snap, good hold. And there it is from 30 yards away. And the Seahawks have moved on top 12 to nothing.
Somewhere on the interstate, Sarah works and Sarah waits like knights in shining armor. Truckers come and truckers go. Sarah longs for someone who'll stick around her whole life through, and someone's turning up tonight, driving in a Dodge.
Won't you look at what he's pulling in? You can't help but notice him. No finer lines exist. I love trucks like this. I dream he's riding high with me. I want the man who holds the key. He's really something special, and he's driving in a Dodge. Give me 4 wheels planted firmly on the ground. Give me a new Dodge truck to turn my head around. I think I love his blue eyes, but I know I love the way he rides. This Dodge has all the comfort that I could ever need.
Coffee?
To go?
Stay.
To Dodge, I say thanks a lot for my ride to Camelot.
Look what just popped up. The new Sony Handycam. A video camera recorder that sees and hears every move. Just point and shoot and catch all the fun. It's so tiny it fits in one hand. The new Sony Handycam. Where will it pop up next?
America's favorite pastime returns to NBC as the nation's top rollers battle it out for Bowler of the Year honors. Join Jay Randolph and Bowler of the Decade Earl Anthony for the PBA Fall Tour next Saturday on NBC.
Mike Tice on injured reserve tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. And, of course, when he went on injured reserve, he traded Cincinnati for Dan Ross to replace him.
Ross, new face, we'll maybe get a shot of him later, but they missed Tice on special teams. Great special teams.
And Johnson kicking off. And Sam Field down and in the end zone. Well, thus far, the offense of the Los Angeles Raiders looks like a jigsaw piece that got mixed inside the wrong puzzle. But they had a short week.
There are the numbers on the day. 4 for 8, 34 yards, and 2 interceptions. Now, that is the alarming number. Wilson has only had 5 on the year. And, Charlie, maybe the short week did hurt them. They won a very big game for them against San Diego. They've had less practice time. They had to travel. But I don't think any of those are the kinds of excuses that they would make for themselves. They just have not gotten themselves going in this game. They better not wait too long.
And what were the Seattle Seahawks doing on Monday night? Were they watching the Raiders? No, they were having a Halloween party. So they started the week entirely different. And Marcus Allen starts it for the Raiders, and he has 3 yards to the 23. It'll be 2nd and 7 as Jeff Bryant makes the tackle. But it has been a shaky start, hasn't it, for the Raiders?
Very shaky start for them. You know, here we are in a game that's certainly not going to be won in my mind by 12, even by the 12 points on the board, Charlie. So all they need is 2 touchdowns. They thought right now, let's just get the first of those 2. They need to get moving on offense.
13 minutes and 18 seconds time remaining. We're in the second quarter at the Kingdom. And it's Marcus Allen.
Marcus carried the ball last week 30 times, Charlie. I talked to Al Davis during the week at practice, and I said, can he do that week in and week out? And he said, no, we can't run Marcus that much. But in this situation where they need to get something going, they go back to Marcus Allen.
He's carried it 9 times for 36 yards.
He may go over 30 today.
He may. You're right. He may.
But that doesn't ensure you're going to win, Charlie. You've got to, you know, people say all you have to do is run the football to win. That's not necessarily true. You've got to make yardage with those runs.
And touchdowns.
Touchdowns.
That's right. 3rd down and 2. You look for him to run here. And you've got some jumping.
Jacob Green was way off sides. I don't know if anyone moved over there, but he was clearly in the backfield.
Encroachment, number 79 on the defense, 5 yards, first snap.
Is he playing a guessing game with a snap count?
A lot of defensive linemen do that, Charlie, and very often it gets you in trouble. In fact, Joe Klecko talked about last week's game against Seattle. He said, we knew that Craig was going to go on 2, and we were guessing with him. You do that sometimes in a passing situation in particular. I don't know if he was guessing or just thought he saw something and jumped on that one.
Jesse Hester coming in motion. Wilson has pressure and goes down. Bruce Schultz got him. Second sack for the Seahawks.
One of the things that Seattle has talked about when they talk about Schultz is his likeness to the Mad Stork, Ted Hendricks, the same kind of size, and showing you an impact play of that kind as he gets around Hawkins. Great job there. Wilson almost got away, but look at the strength in those hands. Schultz with one hand able to get a hold of Wilson's jersey and pull him down.
Just a shirt-tail tackle.
Well, I'll tell you, that is exactly.
Yeah.
The Raiders continue to sputter on offense.
2nd and 11. Time for the Raiders to show going deep. Crossing pattern over the middle. Pass is complete to Marcus Allen, and he's got a first down at the 47-yard line of Seattle. 21 yards of the play. Big play.
Kenny Easley, a double responsibility on that last play. His first job was to chuck Todd Christensen at the line of scrimmage, try and throw him off his timing. You'll see him doing that right here. Number 46, Easley trying to get a bump on him there. Now he sees Marcus coming out of the backfield, has to cover him, and was not in position to get in front of Marcus. In fact, really not there until the play was finished.
Seattle out in front, 12-0. The Raiders with the ball, and just under 11 minutes to go in the first half. Marcus Allen. And this is the first time the Raiders have looked good. Fred Young with the tackle.
Finally getting something moving here, and 2 plays in a row. They've utilized Marcus's ability as a pass catcher. He is such a dangerous weapon.
And we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
You're watching KING TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen. Michael Jackson is limping for the Seahawks. And the Seahawks lead the Raiders 12-0 with just over 10 and a half to go now. In the first half, I'm Charlie Jones along with Merlin Olsen. Whoa. Marcus Allen not trying to go airborne as much as just to climb a pile of players that time, and he was met at the top.
He just wanted a first down, and it's going to be very close, but a tremendous surge by the Seattle Seahawks. Watch that hole close right there. Looked like it was there. 51, Sam Merriman doing a good job. Jacob Green in there. Greg Gaines, 56. And right at the bottom of the pile, number 72, Joe Nash. Boy, that's a stack of blue jerseys, Charlie.
And we'll have a measurement. It is that close, so the clock is stopped with 10:24 left to go in the first half.
Raiders playing a little bit conservatively. That's another one of those situations where you can, if you wish, take a shot down the field. But they have not done that well offensively. So they're going to grab that first down if they can get it, and they got it.
San Diego out in front of Denver. Jets comfortably in front of Indianapolis in the second quarter. San Francisco, they're still having their problems, but they're leading.
Well, Philadelphia playing much better, Charlie. My old Rams are doing a little bit of work, but that's not a very comfortable lead even on New Orleans.
First down and 10. The Seahawks lead here 12-0. Wilson's pass is complete to Jesse Hester, the #1 draft choice from Florida State. He's pulled down by Dave Brown. Now, the Raiders seem to be mixing their offense up a little bit more.
Well, they've gotten things working here, Charlie. They've sputtered and killed themselves really on those 2 interceptions and several penalties. Now they have things moving. They just want to keep the ball moving down the field. They need to get into that end zone. Hester, by the way, is really coming on. Success breeds success. Had a big reverse for a touchdown last week. Feeling much better about himself.
2nd and 4. Marcus Allen drops it. Now, in 21 offensive plays today, the Raiders, Marcus Allen has been involved in 15 of them, including that one that he dropped. That was his 5th possible reception, and he's carried the ball 10 times, so he's involved in everything.
You're saying they should key on him, Charlie? Yes. I think if I were, that Tom Catlin is thinking the same thing, but it's so hard when the Raiders stretch you, and that's always been their philosophy, stretch the field. They've got good speed outside in Hester and Dokie Williams. They stretch you with those people. They work Christensen in there. They give you some room, and Marcus then swings out of the backfield and kills you. Third down.
Wobbly, incomplete. Bad pass. Tim Moffitt, the rookie from Mississippi, taken in the third round of the draft, still with no receptions, almost had his first. That's a bad throw.
Well, it was also an excellent defensive play by Terry Jackson, number 24, who timed his shot perfectly, trailing the receiver across the field, got a piece of him as the ball arrived. Maybe if that ball had been thrown with a little more zip, it couldn't have been done, Charlie, but either way, they're going to end up with a fourth down, and Terry Barr is going to have a chance here.
From 49 yards away, his longest this year successful field goal.
I said Terry Barr. Boy, he's out of the league a long time.
That is blocked and picked up on the hop. Byron Walker.
Terry Taylor, I think the man who blocked that kick, is still down on the ground. Jim Weitzel out very quickly. He may have caught a foot as he tried to block that kick, Charlie. He has been a dangerous man on kick blocks all year long. Walker just scooped that ball up on the fly, and with his wide receiver speed, took it all the way down. And Tom Flores has got to be shaking his head. Here's the last play. Taylor coming from the far side, diving, and that ball hits him right straight in the face. So it was the ball that did the damage there, but great play on his part and a perfect hop. That ball jumped right up to Byron Walker, number 89. Barr had a chance at him. Wilson, the holder, a chance. Neither one had the speed to shut him down.
And we still have timeout on the field as Terry Taylor is being administered to. Byron Walker, 57 yards. And suddenly it's Seattle 18 and Los Angeles nothing with 9:09 to go in the first half.
Another look at that play as you see Barr just shaking his head. The timing may be a little bit off, but the great acceleration. I don't think I've ever seen a special teams player as quick off the ball as Terry Taylor. And he just shot in there, got around the outside, a well-devised blocking scheme, and caught that football right in the face. I think after he shakes it off, though, he'll say, hey, it was worth it.
Right now, I'm not sure if he knows if it was worth it. He's still driving.
Well, he's the starting right or left corner, and they've got to be concerned about that. They need him in the ball game, but I think he'll be all right, Charlie.
So now we'll move to the opposite end of the field for the extra point attempt. Terry shaking his head, okay, said, I'm okay, I'm okay. Now remember that Sean Jones of the Raiders has blocked an extra point attempt. This one gets up there, and it's good. Seattle 19, Los Angeles nothing.
Betty Dorfman before the Nikon One Touch. Betty after the Nikon One Touch. The Parfit family before the Nikon One Touch. The Parfit family after. Mr. Dennis Pinkstaff before. Mr. Pinkstaff after.
This is great.
The new autofocus auto-flash Nikon One Touch. It's so easy to use, it's given thousands of people something they've always wanted.
Oh, the baby's a week old. Got any pictures?
Pictures they can be proud of.
Soldier, we know you, courageous and brave. The country you honored, the flag that you waved. Soldier, we thank you. On Veterans Day, you're the pride of America.
From the people at Coors to America's veterans.
You're the pride of today.
Call
any Air Express company and ask if they'll guarantee to give the exact status of your package within 30 minutes or your money back.
Yeah, well, the thing is...
Call someone else and ask if they'll guarantee to deliver your package on time or your money back.
Well, gee,
Then call Federal Express and ask us the same questions.
Absolutely, positively, or your money back, sir.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when heart-pounding excitement returns to the Greens, where one putt could be worth $450,000. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, and Fuzzy Zeller play the Skins game. Now that's a November to remember on NBC.
Terry Taylor, number 20, who blocked the field goal attempt. It resulted in a touchdown for Byron Walker. And the margin is stretched now to 19-0. The report on Taylor is that he's okay.
Look at where they've started those drives. The Raiders have had horrible field position, and the Seahawks, by virtue of the turnovers, have been starting at their own 49 on the average.
Owen Johnson kicking off, either Sam Seal or Fulton Walker. This will be Seal at the 4-yard line. 15-yard line, 11 yards on the return, and Eric Lane, the captain of the special teams, got it.
Eric may have hurt himself on that play. You can't hesitate as you come up in there. Sammy Seal trying to hesitate a little bit, and he was just cut down, and Lane is still down on the ground. And Charlie, just moments ago, we were talking about the Raiders getting things going. They've had 5 possessions so far in the game. 2 have been stopped by interceptions. Twice they've had to punt, and of course the other one ended up in that blocked field goal, which goes back for 7 points, and that's a 10-point turnaround.
Second quarter score, San Diego 10, Denver 0.
San Diego 10, Denver 0. That score just announced to the crowd here in the Kingdome, and their reaction, of course, the Raiders and Denver tied at 6-2. That is their record coming into the ballgame.
You earn your money on special teams, Charlie. There it is right there. Eric Lane in from the back. He's hit by one of his own players. That's Bruce Schultz coming in from the other side. And something you may not know, more players, I think, hurt by their own teammates than by the opposite team.
You see that a lot. You see that in the secondary, too. You have 2 tacklers converging from 2 different sides.
I think it's one of the reasons that the Raiders secondary has stayed so healthy, because they play so much man-to-man. You don't have those people attacking the ball carrier from different directions. At least not as much as you would in a zone secondary.
I want to ask you more about their man coverage. Wilson. He goes deep. He's open, and he is overthrown. That is Jesse Hester. Oh, he got behind the defender. Why do not other teams in the National Football League go to the pure man coverage like the Raiders?
Well, I think the basic reason, Charlie, is you've got to have those great corners. They have them in Hayes and Haynes. Not many teams can match wide receivers with that kind of speed. That particular play, for example, Dave Brown not able to match the speed of Hester. Hester breaking out, but it was the pressure. Wilson had to unload just before he came open, and he had to guess at where he was going to be, threw it a little bit long.
Mark Wilson, 7 of 14, 68 yards, 2 interceptions with Marcus Allen. And Marcus will have 3 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 7. Bruce Schultz makes the tackle.
The Seahawks defense does a lot of slanting, Charlie. They do a lot of slanting and stunning inside, and the reason for that, Tom Catlin just said, we don't feel that we have the defensive personnel to match up against a lot of offenses, and we have to use a few tricks on our plays as a result. They do an awful lot of tough things inside. There's Catlin on the left side of your screen. He's the man who's stands behind this defense. Coordinated 3 different teams' defenses: Los Angeles, Buffalo, and of course here in Seattle for Chuck Lynch. And also, the Dallas Texans/Kansas City Chiefs. That's where he started in pro ball in 1960, a 2-time All-America out of Oklahoma. Todd Christensen pulls this one in. He'll pick up about 10 on the play. Now, Todd Christensen has been kind of a silent receiver thus far in the ball game. Got one good one earlier for a first down, Charlie, at least. So
that was his second, yeah.
Yep. He got one first down earlier. Todd, of course, a Brigham Young graduate, as is Mark Wilson.
Big collegiate rivalries of you at Utah State, right?
Yeah. Hey, when I was there, we always beat them.
First down. Raiders at their own 27-yard line. 7.5 minutes to go in the first half. Marcus Allen. And he'll pick up 4, maybe 5 on the play. Fred Young with the tackle. the Raider offense is not, it's very basic all of a sudden. I'm expecting it to be spectacular, and it's not.
Charlie, they really kind of went back to the basics. They lost 2 games in a row, and they kind of took themselves back to the basics at about the same time they started to call the plays. I think one of the reasons they did it is they limited the number of plays they'd have to call from the sideline, but it's been very successful for them. You see Tom Flores there, they've won 5 in a row with that philosophy, so it hasn't been bad for them.
Wilson with time has to drop this one off underneath the coverage to Frank Hawkins. That's the first time that Hawkins has handled the ball in the ball game. 5 yards to the 36 will be 3rd down and 1, and Terry Taylor and Sam Merriman team up on the tackle for the Hawks.
Excellent job of protection again. They were able to silence that rush from the Seahawks. Look at the total yards for the day. Now that is interesting when you look at the scoreboard to realize the Raiders have been hammering for yards, but it's the Seahawks who, of course, have been capitalizing, and that's kind of the way they played throughout last year, Charlie. It really is.
Well, you're right. This is more the way that the Hawks played in '84 than the way that they've been playing this year. Little play action fake. Marcus is open, and he hits him. And Marcus is down at the 42-yard line, and it's a 1st down for Los Angeles. Now, when we go back, talk about this, and I've got a note for you.
Let's look at the way they use Marcus Allen out of the backfield. First, they just give a little fake there, and then it's a match right there between he and Paul Moyer. And as fast as Moyer is, Allen's faster. And he gets out there, makes a fine catch on the play, and pulls down a 1st down.
Seahawks lead it 19-0. 1 touchdown drive, and that drive covered 27 yards in 1 play, capitalizing, remember, on the punt return to Kenny Easley. 2 field goals, and that the blocked field goal picked up 57 yards. So the Hawks have not been devastating on offense either. Austin is almost intercepted. Doki Williams, the intended receiver, and Terry Taylor was chasing him.
I think they were testing Taylor on that play. He went out, as you remember, with a little bit of a shaky head after blocking that field goal with his face. And they test him deep right there with Doki Williams, who's their fastest receiver, fastest man on this Raiders squad. But Terry Taylor, equal to the task, has excellent speed himself, was right there.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10, back at the 42-yard line of Los Angeles with 5:27 the time remaining in the 1st half. And the Raiders trail 19-0. Marcus Allen just across the 50 to the Seattle 49. Joe Nash makes the play. Let's join NFL 85.
All right, Charlie, in Indianapolis, 2nd quarter action. Dennis Blyden, number 23, takes the pitch out from Ken O'Brien, goes around left end, barrels into the end zone, 28-yard touchdown. The Jets lead Indianapolis 35-3, Charlie.
Well, Maude, you kind of figured that one, but I'm sure you didn't figure this one.
Oh, this is a surpriser. Of course, we're still early in this ball game, but no one predicted this, including me, Charlie.
Marcus Allen, 1st down, leads to the 41-yard line. A gain of 8 yards on the play. Fred Young makes the tackle. And I don't think anybody expected this in San Diego. There have been a lot of reports in the San Diego newspapers about this could well be the last year of Don Coryell if he does not finish at least with an 8-8 record. And that's all they're writing about.
Well, this is a tough division. The AFC West has chewed itself to bits over many years, and they're doing it again, Charlie.
Yes. Marcus Allen today, 62 yards rushing, 49 yards receiving. He is the Raider offense. Incomplete. Hester, the intended receiver. And he was bumped by Dave Brown at the same time the ball got there. So it'll be 2nd down and 10 at the Seattle 41-yard line.
Good battle going on the line of scrimmage between Joe Nash and Don Mospar. They're hiding right here behind the quarterback, Mark Wilson. But watch the 2 of them explode into action here. That's Mospar at 72 matched up with a 72 Nash. And Nash just bulldozes him back into the backfield and forces the early throw. Here's the other look at it from the sideline. You see the hands with a whole lot of jersey, but Nash just powering Mospar back into the quarterback.
2nd and 10, 41-yard line. Shot number 3, and a flag is down.
Well, they're going to negate that with a holding call, I'm afraid. But I don't think Seattle will accept it. They'll get the yardage on the sack anyway.
the Raiders. Jeff Bryant got the sack, if it stands, and it will.
Jeff Bryant working on big
Holding.
Bruce Davis.
Number 70. Offense. Penalty is declined.
Henry Lawrence. Well, we talked about the battle that he's having with Jacob Green, and they have had some real toe-to-toe shootouts, the two of them. On that play, Lawrence getting a little too much jersey in his hand.
3rd down and 17. Tim Moffitt comes wide to the near side with Hester. Christensen is in the slot right. He has 2 receptions. Incomplete. Moffitt, the intended receiver. It'll be 4th down and 17. Let's join Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Charlie, in San Diego, here's something else I didn't expect. Second quarter action, Dan Fouts finds Wes Chandler, his 2nd touchdown on the day. They lead Denver 17-0. Boy, they make it look easy.
When it's all going well, it is easy.
Well, it certainly is. Right now, it's going well for the Seattle Seahawks. We expected their defense to play well, but we didn't expect to see them put 19 points on the board here in the first half.
Ray Guy will be kicking in a moment. Is that Eric Lane?
Eric, you saw him
early
get dinged. He got dinged a little while ago on a kickoff. I think he just got a little excited on that play.
He got there. You know, you always hear the statement, he almost got there before the ball did. Well, he did. This time he did.
Certainly did. Now we're sorting it out. Perhaps, I think the question they're asking is, did someone move? And there's a man who has to feel pretty good about this first half. I don't think I've ever seen him as tired as I saw him this last week. And I think because of the strain of losing 2 close games.
Ball start. Offense.
Well, that's right. They were talking about whether there was movement on the part of the offense to set off Eric Lane. If the offense moves and draws the defense, the penalty goes their way.
Ball start.
There's Chuck Knox.
He told us that yesterday. His philosophy for this game.
If it moves, hit it. If it doesn't, paint it. Well, they've been doing that so far in this game, and it's paid big dividends. But, well, we don't even have to say it, do we, Charlie? Still the first half.
That's right. 3:33, but dominated by the Seahawks. Ray Guy kicking. Paul Scansey is the deep back on the return. Ooh, nice one. Short kick. Fair catch. Taken at the 21-yard line.
Freddie Young almost blocked that kick. Guy had to force it out of there. Only 33 yards on the punt. He's lucky to get it away.
So with 3:27 left to go in the first half, Seattle takes over at their own 21-yard line. Leading in the ball game, 19-0. Be sure to be with us at halftime for NFL 85. Bob Axelrod will be updating all of the scores, and we'll have highlights, of course, around the National Football League.
Guy upset about something, talking to one of the officials.
He may still be upset about that 53-yard punt that he had right at the end of the first quarter. If you weren't with us, time ran out before the snap. The officials did not stop the play. The ball was in the air. The gun went off at that time. They stopped the play, waited the end of the quarter, changed ends, and then he punted again. It was a short punt with a good return. And since then, it's been all downhill for the Raiders. To Warner. From the 21, just across the 25-yard line. So he's got 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6 as Matt Millen and Bill Pickell make the tackle.
Charlie, we've mentioned several times that they'll move Howie around quite a bit. Howie Long. Here's his normal position at the left end. He'll also play it in a 3-man line on the nose and over here on the opposite tackle. And then in a 4-man line, we'll play both end positions and the 2 inside positions. You see him here. He's sliding in to get a part of that play, but actually plays all 7 of the line positions.
And we've got jumping. Steve Largent was doing a little polka as a wide receiver. I think he went on the wrong count, and then he realized it, was trying to get back in time, and as he was continuing his dance, the play went on. Kurt Warner thus far 9 carries, 23 yards. Now the ball hasn't snapped yet. Whoop, wait a minute. Hurry, get back.
Lester.
Lester.
Yeah, that was on you. Yeah.
Always helping the official.
Lester's a character. This Raider defense has not had a bad day today. They have allowed some points.
Illegal motion, offense, Brady, second down.
You've got to remember that Seattle has been blessed with great field position and with 7 points off the turnover today.
Penalty yards have evened out at 45 apiece. 2nd and 11. The ball at the 20-yard line. Lester Hayes up guarding Darrell Turner now. As you can see right at the bottom of your screen. He's talking to him, of course. He steps away. And Randall Morris is the ball carrier. That's about 4 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 7 as Bill Piquel makes the tackle.
Charlie, I talked to Matt Millen just briefly before the game, and we're talking about the way signals are being called in the league. And, of course, there are only a few quarterbacks left in football who call their own plays and only a few defensive linebackers who call their plays. He said, I would have loved to play when I could have called all the defenses and been in some of those good head-to-head battles with the quarterbacks.
The Raiders take a timeout. The reason being there's 2:08 time remaining in the first half. It's 3rd down and 7. Figuring they hold Seattle here, the 2-minute warning will stop the clock automatically at 2 minutes after the next play. Then they will be kicking to the Raiders. The Raiders will have the ball and can control their own destiny when they have the football, even though they'll have only 1 timeout remaining at that point. Had to take one earlier in the ballgame.
Tom Flores, of course, trying to plan some strategy, trying to figure out what he wants to do once they get that football back.
And you mentioned that the Raiders defense has not been playing all that bad. Seattle has 16 points in this period and only 1 first down.
That'll give you some kind of message, won't
it? That it does. That really 16 points in the 2nd quarter and only 1 first down.
Timeouts remaining, which is very critical, of course, in the last 2 minutes of this period. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Raiders gamble, maybe try and block a punt if they can get things shut down here.
Dennis Mnuchin, our statistician, found that little fuel for it. That's a good one.
Certainly is.
Tells the story. 19-0. Seattle.
Hey, these two coaches, there's no way that in their minds they would have looked at this game and said that's going to be the result of this first half, Charlie. Both of them, I think, much different feelings coming in.
And for the Seahawks, like last year, capitalizing on the turnovers. And that has been the story of the first half. 3rd down and 7. Randall Morris. And Morris is stopped at the 27-yard line, so he has 3 yards. It'll be 4th down and 4 as Mike Davis makes the tackle. And we'll have the 2-minute warning. We'll be back to the Kingdome in a moment.
You see those lights? They're burning out too soon in ordinary soft white light bulbs. But not me. I'm in Sylvania soft white bulbs. Why, in this 60-watt alone, I can burn 50 more hours. And only these Sylvania bulbs have a guarantee. So, get Sylvania soft white light bulbs instead of those guys with a dim future.
Ask for Sylvania, where the best comes to light.
Escape on my airline, United, to the wonders of Maui. With a fare so low, it'll bring Maui alive.
Peaceful island paradise, playful island sight, vibrant island waters, exotic island nights. The friendly skies bring Maui alive.
Once you get to Maui, you may never want to leave. Come, let us bring it alive.
Let the friendly skies bring Maui alive.
Injected Dodge Lancers come with optional turbochargers, and you can't expect that kind of power to stay put.
It's the boys' night out, and they're cruising around. The boys' night out, and they're doing the round. They're revving up, heading out, looking for fun.
Dodge Lancers. We just can't keep them in the showroom.
Monday on TV's Bloopers and Practical Jokes. It's a crazy night of fun with an exciting new blooper contest where you can win big prizes. Don't be a crab. Watch Bloopers and Practical Jokes Monday.
Ray Prohaska, the distinguished gentleman, Seahawks offensive coordinator.
Charlie, it's his 28th and final year in the NFL, his 13th with Chuck Knox. He's got to be plenty pleased that they're up comfortably in this first half.
You've been the master of ceremonies at the Gold Helmet Banquet here in Seattle, and he was honored at the Gold Helmet Banquet this past year, and he didn't know anything about it. It's a big surprise. Very touching. Here's Fulton Walker on the punt return. He needs to get a little bit of a field position for the Raiders. Not that good. 11 yards and return a 48-yard kick by Dave Fencer, and Eric Lane makes the tackle for Seattle.
One series here, an opportunity for the Raiders to get back and get things going. What a great addition this man has been. Fulton Walker, of course, turned loose by the Miami Dolphins, and the thing that excited the Raiders about him, they liked him when he was playing for Miami, and he had so much big game experience. They said, hey, we didn't waste any time. We went out and got him.
And Al Davis, the general managing partner of the Raiders, always makes a key personnel move during the season. That may be one. There's another one.
He's got two of them this year.
Yep. Wilson with pressure, steps away, throws, and the pass is complete, and this is Jesse Hester. Out of bounds, stopping the clock at the Seattle 45, 20 yards. John Harris for the defense.
What a nice play by Wilson, who had the ability at this time to get away from the pressure and look for the open man. Now, Jesse Hester, looking back, knows his quarterback's in trouble. And here he is working back, saying, hey, I'm open, I'm open. The only mistake he made, he should continue back toward the quarterback in that situation so that the defenders can't cut it off and take the ball away from him.
But a good move for the rookie. #1 draft choice this year, Florida State, so he's played half a season in the NFL. Wilson fires this one, and it's incomplete.
They've used that play very successfully so far in this game. Not successful there as Keith Simpson able to arrive at the same time as the ball. Marcus was not able to handle it. That last play, Charlie, exhibited something else that Mark Wilson has had trouble with. He does not have the kind of awareness in that pocket that they would like him to have. In other words, the feeling of room in that pocket, where to go in case you get some pressure. He was able to feel the pressure from the back, step forward, and made that play. That's a plus. That's something they really want him to be able to do better.
He's at 50%, 11 of 22, 108 yards, but 2 interceptions. This is overthrown, and the flag is dropped at the 43-yard line. Now, let's not get too far away from a statement that we made a moment ago. Al Davis may have made another personnel move that could be a key this year.
Second is Jerry Robinson, who has come in from Philadelphia. There's the wristband we talked to you about earlier. That's Mark Wilson's list of plays that are signaled in from the sideline.
Who does that remind you of?
Well, it reminds me of Tom Matty.
Tom Matty, right.
Tom Matty, of course, a great story where he had to come in when all the quarterbacks in Baltimore had been knocked out. You know the first team he beat might run?
No.
The Los Angeles Rams. I happen to be on the other side of the line, Charlie.
Well, why did you bring this up? Why did you just mess up the plays on the rest? You need some of that whiteout as you got it done. First down at the 40-yard line with the penalty. Overthrown, but all alone. Doki Williams was all alone, and he was overthrown. He was wide open.
Mark is saying that one's on me, Doki. Mark able to get a little time. He's under pressure again, fighting for some room. Terry Taylor loses Doki Williams right here. Doki just breaks away from him, and Mark saw the move, saw everything, got everything right, except put a little too much heat on that ball, threw it over his head.
1 minute, 27 seconds, time remaining, first half. Seattle leads at 19-0. The Raiders operating still with 1 timeout. And you get something on the scoreboard. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. The pass is intercepted.
That may go all the way, Charlie.
Terry Taylor.
Doki Williams, were you going inside or outside? A miscommunication here. Mark thought he was going outside. Doki is breaking inside. Well, Terry Taylor knew where the football was. Accounts for his 14th point on the day. He's the man who blocked the field goal earlier that went back for the TD. And here he is, carrying one in on his own. And
Norm Johnson will try to add the point after. It is 25-0. And climbing. 26-0 Seahawks.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Give me a light.
you never know what you'll get.
What I wanted. Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, ask for Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
This year, the Seahawks won their first 2 games. They lost their next 2. They won their next 2. They lost their last 2. Seattle has not lost 3 in a row since BCK. That's before Chuck Knox. They may not do it today.
Yeah, what a great play by Terry Taylor. And again, the miscommunication. Wilson thinking the receiver would be breaking outside. Instead, he's breaking inside. And Terry Taylor is all the way down the sideline. And this is back to the formula that worked so well for the Seahawks last year. They led the league, plus 24 in turnover ratio last year. They have not been over the even mark. They've been in the negative numbers this year.
And at the midway point last year, they were plus 13. And at the midway point, -1. I think that's the big statistic that jumps out at you when you look at the Seahawks this year. That's the big difference. Fulton Walker on the return. Fumbles it. Recovers it. Comes back, loses it again. It took a bounce back up to him. Never had possession. Let's wait on the officials. They make it official.
The official says that the ball bounced away when he hit the ground. It looked to me like the ball was loose, Charlie. He didn't have control of it. It was completely out of his hands. Did get it back into his hands. The question here, did they have control? And I think they're going to give it to the Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle is celebrating.
I mentioned earlier, the Seahawks had 8 turnovers from their kicking teams last year. They had not had a single one in the first half of the season. This is their first. There's the ball bouncing away. He gets his hands on it, but you saw him in the air. Did not have control of it. The Seahawks have the football right smack on the 20-yard line. 4 turnovers on the day. The Raiders have given it to the Seahawks, and the Seahawks have yet to give it back.
And Eric Lane got that turnover. The ball at the 20-yard line of Los Angeles. The Seahawks have 1 minute and 9 seconds and 3 timeouts. And they lead 26-0. Craig rolls out. He'll head down the sideline and out of bounds, stopping the clock. Craig has had a lot of heat this year. Although he leads the NFL in touchdown passes, this is the first year, I think, in the 10-year history of the Seahawks that they have been booed at home. But this is the first year they've had expectations. In preseason, they were talking Super Bowl. It hasn't looked that way really until today. Maybe a possibility as a wild card. Still a long way to go.
It's been a year of 2s for the Seattle Seahawks. 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins, 2 losses. Well, they may be turning that around today, and Craig has really been inconsistent.
Yes, he is.
He's been hot and cold. He's had 2 dreadfully cold weeks back-to-back, Charlie.
Yes, against Denver and the Jets, you're right. And here's Kurt Warner. And he has dropped it to 15, so it'll be 3rd down and 5. And Bill Pickell in on the stop and also hollering at the sideline immediately as the Raider is injured. As the Seahawks take a timeout. And they'll stop the clock now with 51 seconds left to go in the first half. Seattle leading 26-0. And they have the ball at the Raiders' 15-yard line.
Looking for more points. It's interesting, Charlie, the Raiders came in here knowing that Seattle was on the ropes early in this season, and they would have loved to be able to put them away if they could have gotten them here today. That would have put them 3 games down. Tom Flores knew that they had the chance to do that, especially with the injuries to Seattle, knowing that Warner had the bad ankle, that David Hughes was out, that Dornick was not due back. And yet, the Seahawks, who always play well against the Raiders, and Knox is 5-1 against the Raiders, were able to put it together today. We talked about inconsistency, Charlie, and that'll tell you a story right there. Dave Craig, in the 4 wins this year, has had 1 interception. In the 4 losses, boy,
11.
11. That's right. Well, he hasn't had any today. And Knox, who was so down yesterday, I mean, he didn't want to be down. He was just kind of beaten. I think he's feeling a little bit better at the moment on the sideline.
Seattle's 3rd down conversions, only 1 of 6. And, but it's been the special teams. It's been returns, interceptions, turnovers. They've capitalized. They've had short yardage.
Seahawks football, I think they'd tell you.
That's what they call it up here. You're right. They play on a 50-yard field. We wanted the 50-yard line, then we move in. Here's the shotgun. Van Ross is back to block. The blitz is coming on, and it's caught. A great catch at the 7-yard line. Byron Walker, who has scored a touchdown in the ballgame. Oh, that's a great reception.
And all-out blitz. Mike Davis, number 36, blitzing from the secondary. James Davis, number 45, the man who's trying to cover Walker on the play. Craig gets the ball away at the last second. That's just a great catch. James Davis was all over Byron Walker, and Walker just made a great catch on the football.
Just outside the 1-yard line, it is 1st down and goal to go. The running backs are Andre Hardy.
Who?
Andre Hardy. And Kurt Warner. Andre will block, and Warner will carry. Andre blocks, Warner carries, and the defense is there. Does not get in. It'll be 2nd down goal.
Charlie, because that's not a name that many people around the NFL know. They're used to hearing of, and the Seattle Seahawks running backs, even when they're healthy, are not a group that you would register immediately.
Seahawks take a timeout to stop the clock now with 38 seconds. Andre Hardy from San Diego, Hoover High, St. Mary's College. He was a 5th-round draft choice of the Eagles last year and was signed as a free agent by Chuck Knox. As Chuck said, I got him off the street. I needed him, and he's done a good job for me.
That last play, of course, he was doing the blocking for this man, Kurt Warner, and Warner showing us some courage playing on that bad ankle. Was not able to practice all this last week. Has been an important factor today, but the tempo of the game has helped him. You can see the extra strapping on that right ankle, heavily bandaged.
Yesterday at practice, you were out on the field behind the offense and talking to the coaches. It was raining. I was standing over the sideline with Kurt, and I had my umbrella. I said, "You want under the umbrella?" And Kurt said, "Oh, no way." He said, "Chuck Knox would be over here screaming at me."
Knox wouldn't go for that.
No.
Wants his players tough, and Warner toughing it out today on that bad ankle.
26-0. The Seahawks in front of the Raiders and threaten again with 38 seconds to go in the 1st half. I'm not sure anybody would have believed this if you said the halftime score.
Charlie, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Knowing the problems that Seattle had, knowing how well the Raiders have been playing coming into this game, I wouldn't have believed this halftime score.
We mentioned that Seattle was favored by 1. Maybe the Kingdom is worth more than just 6 points. Maybe it's worth a couple
20.
of 3.
Oh, and look at this.
A scramble for the ball.
The Raiders have it, Charlie.
Mike Haynes making the play for Los Angeles.
The first turnover. That's 4 turnovers for the Seattle Seahawks. They've gotten it 4 times, and that's the first that the Raiders have been able to pound out of the Seahawks. Leveling Craig. We saw that happen several times last week against the Jets. Blind side, corner blitz. Mike Haynes. And that's a fine play by the corner. You don't see those blitzes from the corner very often from this Raider team. Mike Davis, the man who finally picked that up, number 36.
And so suddenly, with 30 seconds, Mike Haynes jarring the ball loose. Mike Davis recovering. And the Raiders have an opportunity at the 17-yard line. Wilson gets it away. It's incomplete to Frank Hoffman.
Tremendous pressure on Wilson.
Jeff Bryant was putting the pressure on him.
Randy Edwards in there as well.
And a holding call against Los Angeles. And sometimes when it starts to go bad, it just continues, doesn't it? They open the floodgates, and it's hard to stop it.
Larry Kennan on the sideline nodded his head yes. I guess he heard you, Charlie. There's no question that right now things are running in Seattle's direction. And even when they get a break, the Raiders not able to capitalize on it. Wilson has to feel that this has been one of the longest halves of his career.
Oh, yes.
I think the only other game that I have covered of the Raiders where it seemed that futile for them was the game against the Bears last year. And I think the Raiders have taken a long time to recover from that game. It was the first time that I personally had ever seen them beat up on the field, really beat up. The Bears just hammered on them. And I think they've bounced back from that, but this game is taking on some of those same kind of characteristics.
The last penalty on Bruce Davis, Frank Hawkins is the ball carrier, and so Los Angeles now will just be content to run out the clock in the first half. Joe Nash.
Now the Seattle Seahawks.
They say, wait a minute, we want to stop it.
Frank Hawkins over there, linebacker coach, is saying, hey, we want a chance here. We'll try and block a kick.
13 seconds. Time remaining in the first half.
Knox's philosophy, he's got quite a bit on the board already. I think he'd just as soon go into the locker room with those 19.
Yeah. 26.
Excuse me, 26.
It just keeps mounting. Oh, yes.
Keeps adding up, Charlie. It was 19.
Before Terry Taylor with the interception went 75 yards. But let's look at the scoring of the first half. Seattle opens with a field goal. A touchdown pass from Craig to Warner, 27 yards. That was a 27-yard drive. Punt return was by Kenny Easley that set it up. Then a 31-yard field goal. Then Byron Walker came up with a blocked field goal. Terry Taylor blocked it. Walker got the bounce. He scooted 57 yards for the score. And then Terry Taylor with a 75-yard interception. And suddenly it's 26-0, but not an overwhelming show by the offense of the Seahawks.
Now they're beating you with special teams, they're beating you with their defense, and they're showing some strength on offense. That's the kind of balance. And Knox has always been able to do one thing. He's been able to take a team without the great talent and turn it around. Take a loser and turn them into a winner. He does it with good coaching. A man like Tom Kaplan, Ray Prohaska, the offensive coordinator. And I'll tell you, they're proving it here today. They don't match up that strongly against these Raiders head-to-head personnel-wise, but they've done a great job.
Now the Raiders, knowing that the Seahawks have used their last time out, they run the ball. The ball is down at the 20, and then they'll head for the locker room. They say, you want to do that? We'll show you what we can do. We're going to the locker room because we want it to stay 26-0. A surprising first half of football.
Surprising to say the least. The Seahawks, taking every advantage of their opportunities, have just hammered the Los Angeles Raiders in this first half.
Halftime, Seattle leads it 26-0.
Tonight, the 24th mission, where the lives of 10 men rest in the power of one.
Foul position!
And now, the impossible is about to happen. Tonight, a special one-hour episode.
Lakeman delivers what was that?
Amazing stories.
Running smooth and silent. Exxon. Running strong and sure. Exxon. Running smooth and easy. Running with the tiger.
For our highest octane unleaded premium, try Exxon Extra. It quiets knocks and pings for smooth performance.
Running smooth and easy. The tiger. Exxon.
With some airlines' frequent flyer plans, you have to go through a lot to get your bonuses. Alaska Airlines Gold and Travel program, you get great travel rewards plus solid gold ingots. All on an airline you'll fly because you want to, not because you have to.
On King 5, almost live, tonight at 6.
Good afternoon, I'm Don Porter. The police chief of Pacific has filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the small South King County city. Chief Al Lee told King 5 News today that he is suing Pacific for $3.5 million on a charge of race discrimination. In a separate incident 2 years ago, Lee was dismissed as police chief in nearby Algona. That's after a King County Superior Court judge ruled Algona's prior chief had been fired unfairly. Seattle police say a shooting in the Rainier Valley that left one man dead may be drug-related. Police say 4 or 5 men entered Valerie Donaldson's apartment late last night in an apparent burglary attempt. Donaldson shot and killed one of the suspects, Joseph Russell of Seattle. Donaldson was wounded in the exchange. He's in satisfactory condition. Police are on the lookout for the other suspects. And police have 2 suspects in custody after a man was shot, then run over by a truck in a Capitol Hill alley late last night. The victim is in critical condition. The shooting suspect and the owner of the truck have both been arrested. Police say the shooting began when one of the suspects spotted the victim with an ex-girlfriend of his. We'll be back with more news after this.
This liquid can help keep your engine running cool, prevent corrosion, keep it from boiling over or freezing up. What's in it? AluGuard, a premium quality antifreeze formula approved by all 4 major U.S. car makers. AluGuard, a formula you find in more than 70 brands of antifreeze, but not in Prestone. The label tells you it's car maker approved antifreeze. Antifreeze with AluGuard. Available now.
Franzi has won a lot of awards in its 78-year history. It's made us all very proud. But there's one problem. We developed our new wine tap with its airtight container. It keeps those same award-winning wines chilled longer, and most important, it keeps them fresh from first glass to last. But now, what do we do with the awards? The Franzia wine tap. Award-winning wines that stay fresh to the last glass.
Unlike some business letters, nobody throws away a long-distance phone call. Unlike some business trips, long distance doesn't get fogged in at the airport. And unlike special delivery, it doesn't take all night to get there. Business long distance is direct,
John,
persuasive, and costs less than a visit or a letter. Business long distance.
Ah, wonderful.
It gets through to people.
What's the fun of being born a girl? Brothers seem to think they own.
Come on, you guys, step on it.
We'll be right there. Here we are.
Wow, is that you?
Boy, you're beautiful.
We got a taste.
And save a Coke for me, you guys.
The U.S. is protesting the ringing of the U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan with Soviet-backed troops. A Soviet soldier slipped inside the American compound Friday. U.S. diplomats are trying to learn what that soldier wants to do. Today's Seahawks action is drawing more than just football fans to the Kingdome. Election day is just 48 hours away. Politicians made the south gate of the Kingdome a campaign stop just before game time. Among the campaigners, Randy Revelle and Tim Hill, both locked in one of the more competitive races, the race for King County Executive. Still, many fans were less interested in elections than rousting the Raiders, which is being done. We'll have more news on King 5 News at 5 o'clock.
Introducing something new and rather amazing. A super high-octane gasoline with twice the detergent it had before to give you a plus. A detergent strong enough to actually clean dirty fuel injectors, to give your car power and performance it didn't have before. New Mobil Super Unleaded, high octane with a plus.
Merkur XR4 Ti was named one of the 10 best cars for 1985 by the editors of Car and Driver. Now, for a limited time, purchase XR4 Ti for as little as $298 a month, with 9.9 annual percentage rate financing for 60 months. Or choose low 8.8 APR financing with shorter terms. Merkur XR4 Ti from Germany. Visit a Lincoln Mercury Merkur dealer for complete details.
Hi, this is Robin with one of these machines. I can't come to the phone right now, but if you leave your name and the time you called, I promise I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if this is you, Dad, don't worry. I'm saving money. I'm your daughter who works in the bank, remember?
King 5 News with Hattie Kaufman, tonight.
Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones back at the Kingdome at halftime. If somebody told you this morning that the halftime score here was 26-0, I think your reaction would have been, boy, those Raiders are doing it again just like they did Monday night against San Diego. The score's right, 26-0, but it is the Seattle Seahawks out in front of the Los Angeles Raiders. We'll be back with the second half, but right now, NFL 85 will continue after these messages from your local station.
He's the con.
You're gonna be sorry you ever met me.
He's the cop.
I'm already sorry.
And together, they violate everybody's rights.
Did that hurt? It looked real painful when you slammed into it.
Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte star in the outrageous network premiere, 48 Hours. Sunday.
Enter the world of the potentially rich and famous. Play the Burger King $14 million winning taste game. Win $1,000 a month for the rest of your life, or any of 19 million fabulous food and cash prizes. Glitter, glamour, a flame-broiled Whopper, a flaky croissant-sandwich, a Pepsi, or $1,000 a month for the rest of your life. And the odds of winning a prize are a fantastic 1 in 7. Play the winning taste game now at Burger King.
Weekend Sports with Lou Gellos, tonight.
All right, Bob Costas back in New York, along with my crack staff, my sidekicks, Ahmad Rashad and Pete Axtell. Ahmad, as you may recall, is the man who said he was praying. Well, here we see Axe. He's already beginning to travel incognito. You can get nauseous here going back and forth. In any case, Sarge, stay with Axe. Here's the guy who picked both Atlanta and Indianapolis today. And over to my right, Ahmad Rashad. Here is the man who said he was praying for David Craig in light of what was likely to happen to Craig and the Seahawks today
and it's
against
working.
the Raiders.
It's working.
Nicely done. And that's right. The Seahawks are in front at halftime at the Kingdome, 26-0. If this holds up, it'll be the 6th time in 8 tries that the Seahawks have beaten the Raiders at the Kingdome. The last touchdown, this play, Terry Taylor, who earlier had blocked a field goal try and had set up a touchdown for the Seahawks, he comes up with an interception on this Mark Wilson pass and brings it back 75 yards for the TD, 26-0. Now, David Craig has thrown a touchdown pass in this game to Kurt Warner. It's the 27th consecutive game in which Craig has thrown for a touchdown. That's second on the all-time list to Johnny Unitas's as yet unapproachable record of 47. Other games, the Chargers and the Broncos have gone to the third quarter, and the Raiders have to hope this score holds up, in which case they'll maintain a share of the lead atop the AFC West with the Broncos. They both started the day at 6-2. The Chargers lead at 17-3, a pair of touchdown passes from Fouts to Chandler. The Jets and the Colts in the third quarter. Freeman McNeil, the NFL's leading rusher, is already over 100 yards for the game. 35-10, the Jets in a laugher. 3 touchdown passes in the first half for Ken O'Brien. San Francisco playing without the injured Joe Montana. Matt Cavanaugh at quarterback. He's thrown a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice. Wendell Tyler has run for 2 scores. 21-3, the 49ers lead it in the third quarter over the Eagles. The Rams and the Saints have gone to the third quarter at Anaheim. Eric Dickerson is closing in on 100 yards, something he hasn't done for the past 5 weeks. He has also scored a touchdown for the Rams, who came in at 7-1. New England came from behind and beat Miami at Foxborough today, 17-13. New England began the fourth quarter trailing 13-3. This was a big play. In the fourth, on a 4th and 1, they decide to go for it. It looks like it'll be Mosi Tatupu on a line plunge, but he whirls around. It turns into a flea flicker. Back to Grogan. He hits the former Steeler Greg Hawthorne for the touchdown. That brought them to within 13-10, and then late in the fourth quarter, Grogan scored on a 1-yard run, and they win it 17-13. The Dolphins have lost 4 out of 5 road games so far this year. Pittsburgh beats Cleveland 10-9, and the hex the Steelers have over the Browns at Three Rivers Stadium continues. Cleveland is 0-16 in their history at Three Rivers. It looked like they might get that long sought-after victory today. They led 9-7 with 10 seconds to go, but Gary Anderson came in for this kick, and the 25-yard field goal won the game for the Steelers. Last year, with 5 seconds to go in a tie game at Three Rivers, Anderson kicked a field goal for Pittsburgh to beat the Browns, and so 0-16 in their history for Cleveland. Everybody, by the way, in the AFC Central has a record of 4-5, as Cincinnati and Houston also won today. Washington beat Atlanta 44-10. They did not miss the injured John Riggins. He sat out with a bad back. George Rogers ran for 124 yards. Keith Griffin ran for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. Chicago got 192 rushing yards from Walter Payton, including the game-winning touchdown on a 27-yard run in the fourth quarter. It's the 4th consecutive week that Payton has gone over 100 yards, but the play they will be talking about, this one with half a minute to play in the first half, Notice number 72. That's the refrigerator in motion out of the backfield. 4-yard touchdown pass to Mr. Perry from Jim McMahon. He does a little dance, and the Bears go to 9-0 with their 16-10 victory. Houston got a late field goal from Tony Zendejas. They've won 3 in a row. Kansas City has dropped 5 straight after an encouraging start. The final, Houston 23, Kansas City 20. Minnesota defeated the Lions on a field goal as time expired by Jan Stenerud. 16-13 was the final score at the Metrodome. Now both those teams are 5-4 in the NFC Central. The Giants got 5 field goals from Eric Schubert, filling in for the injured Ali Haji Sheikh. And Joe Morris went over 100 yards, including a touchdown run, over 100 for the second consecutive week. They dropped the Bucs to 0-9, another close call for Tampa Bay, but they lose it. 22-20, the Giants winning today at the Meadowlands. And Cincinnati defeated Buffalo. The final score there was 23-17 after Buffalo had led 10-6 at halftime. So Buffalo is 1-8, Cincinnati is 4-5. Boomer Esiason threw 2 touchdown passes in that game for the Bengals, and Larry Kinnebrew went over 100 yards rushing. Now let's go back to the field.
It is halftime here at the Kingdom. I'm Charlie Jones along with Merlin Olsen. Interesting question about halftime with the two coaches, because in the first half, the Raiders, we just looked at the halftime statistics, they led in every statistical category except the scoreboard.
Well, they gave up a few sacks and a few turnovers as well, but there's no question about it. In fact, I understand we have the stats, and they're very interesting in this game because they do not reflect the character of this game. You look at what the Raiders have done in rushing yardage and first downs, in passing yardage and total yardage. They lead. I mean, looking at those stats, you just wouldn't have a clue that they could be behind by 26 points on the scoreboard until you look at turnovers, and they, of course, have been badly bruised in the turnover department. They've turned the ball over 4 times. Seattle's only turned it over once. And, of course, the big plays, Charlie, in my mind, are the 2 plays that brought points to them, and they're really kind of turnover plays. One, the block kick by Terry Taylor, blocked it with his face. I said then he'd trade that for the points, and I believe he would. And, of course, the other one, and I think we have it on tape for you, that big interception, 75 yards by Terry Taylor. Watch him here. Wilson has a miscommunication with his receiver right here, Dokie Walker. Dokie going inside. Wilson thought he was going outside. And Terry Taylor got a block right there by number 45, Kenny Easley, and nothing but green turf between him and the end zone. Big touchdown, and I'll tell you, it's not easy to look at a scoreboard after you've played what you feel is a fairly decent half and say, how in the world did we get behind this far? But the Raiders do have one thing. They're a mature team, and they do know how to come back, Charlie.
With Tom Flores, you know, he had to say, hey, you know, look at the stats. We're not playing that better. Just stay in there. And Chuck Knox has to say, wow, we're 26. You know, hold on. Here we go. Fulton Walker returning it from 1 yard deep in the end zone. And he returns it across the 25 and goes out of bounds on the far side around the 26-yard line.
The one thing you do, if you're the Raiders, you talk about what you wanted to do coming into this game. You go back and do it. Now let's look at the last 2 weeks for Mark Wilson. Look at his numbers. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 30 for 67. They've won those 2 games. Look at what he's done today. Completion's not that badly, but that 3-interception number on this day has really been the killer.
They'll kill you. You're right. 27-yard line, first down. Here's Marcus Allen. Shut off inside, jumps outside. And they'll mark it around the 33-yard line, so you'll have 6 yards. It'll be second down and 4.
Charlie, the Raiders have been over 30 points so far 3 times this year. They scored 31 against the Jets in their opener when they crunched the Jets, 35 against New England, and 34 last week against San Diego. So they can put points on the board. Right now, they're just trying to get things going, establish the tempo for this second half right here in this first series.
Raiders trailing 26-0 as we open the second half. Doug Christensen with his 3rd reception.
The official saying he had the football and was down. The ball bounced out after the fact. They'll get an argument from Easley, but I believe it was a good call.
The rule is that the turf cannot cause a fumble. So if you have possession when you hit the ground, then the ball is dead.
Good protection on that last play. I think it's a good call, Charlie.
I do too.
He's on the ground, had control of the football.
And it's a first down at the 38-yard line. And obviously the Raiders are going to be very deliberate. They're not going to be in any hurry. It's a veteran team. They know they have the whole second half to work with. Just cut out the mistakes and let's see what happens. Good protection, deep double coverage, and almost picked off. Terry Taylor was going for the interception. It'll be second down and 10 back at the 38.
One of the dangers in this second half, and I think you said it earlier, the Seattle Seahawks can't be thinking hang on. It's a dangerous philosophy against a Raider team. You've got to be aggressive, and they're showing that aggressiveness on defense, although they're not getting pressure on Mark Wilson here. Wilson has had time to throw the football, and he's doing what the Raiders love to do, but have not done successfully here today, and that's to go deep.
And the Seahawks have an opportunity here today to do something they haven't done all year, and that is to defeat a team with a winning record. Marcus Allen, 50-yard line, 12 yards, first down. Kenny Easley stopped him right at the 50.
A shot from the end zone. We'll get a view from where the defensive backs stand. That's Kenny Easley. The one-on-one matchup, that's UCLA against USC.
And that's always a good matchup.
That's always a good matchup, you're right.
First down at the 50. Now the crowd starts to get involved. Far side, Dokey Williams with a sliding reception at the 39-yard line. Gain of 11, first down. Dave Brown had the coverage, but all of a sudden the Raiders now beginning to pick and choose, and I'm beginning to wonder if the Seahawks didn't come out with that attitude and say, let's just hang on, we've got it.
Well, if they did, they're going to have a problem here, because the Raiders are the kind of team that can get back into a game. They have that kind of maturity. They're not worried about what's on the board. They're worried about what they're doing on the field. That's the way you have to approach it.
And 4 times 7 is 28, and you win by 2. They're thinking in those terms. But there's no hurry. Marcus Allen slipping a tackle, goes to the 37-yard line. He has a couple. Second down and 8. Joe Nash is the man who brings him down, and we've got the same situation going on in San Diego. San Diego leading by 21 points. San Francisco out in front of Philadelphia in the third quarter. And the Rams still lead New Orleans by 7, but it's now 14-7. And here it is Seattle 26 and the Raiders nothing. Marcus Allen cut down at the 35-yard line.
Marcus really took a shot from Terry Taylor as he turned back, took a shot on the leg. He's slow getting up, and he'll be limping. Trying to just get outside and get the short one here. Taylor going low. Marcus is lucky he didn't get that foot down on the ground. I think if he'd have gotten that left foot down on the ground, he might have been looking at a knee injury there.
In that San Diego game, Fouts has 2 touchdown passes to Chandler. Gary Anderson has scored on the ground from 16 yards out. Rob Thomas has a 36-yard field goal. Rich Carlos has a 36-yard field goal for Denver. That's the scoring in that ballgame.
There comes Marcus off the field. Both the combatants. Terry Taylor went off the field. Now Marcus is coming off the field. And he is limping. But I'll tell you again, if he had gotten that foot down on the turf, it's a very unforgiving turf. I think he might have had his knee blown out on that last play.
Third down and 8. Todd Christensen, first down. Paul Moyer with the tackle, 14 yards and a first down.
One of the things that Todd Christensen will do is to continue to work all day long. Charlie, there is a flag down on the field, and it may negate a beautiful reception and a first down.
That's the reason Todd threw that ball. I couldn't understand his reaction until I saw the flag.
Frustration. Frustration. While the officials are sorting it out, well, we'll give them a chance to talk, and then we'll look at the play.
79, illegal use of the hands. Offense.
Bruce Davis.
Third down.
Second time he's been called on a penalty.
Trying to hold out Jeff Bryant on that play. Here's the play. Todd Christensen working so hard. The leading receiver in the NFL. Look how hard he has to work to get off the line. That's Moyer, 21, singled up on him. And Moyer working hard to get over and get in front of that ball. But Todd just wouldn't give up on the pattern. Able to get his hands on it, but it all goes for naught, and it's 3rd and 20 yards to go.
I'd go right back to Todd. Incomplete. Kenny King, the intended receiver, he He looked to the inside, though. The toss came to the outside. It was a misread of the coverage.
Well, I think even if he'd caught that football, he would only have been about 10 yards down, and they needed 20 on the play. Ray Guy will come out, and what a frustrating day for this Raider team. Just as they seem to have something going here in this first series, the Seahawk defense able to come back and shut them down. Fourth punt of the day for Ray Guy.
Paul Scansey is set for the return, and then average.
Well, the average because they've been punting into the short side of the field.
That's right. And he's going for the corner on this side or the near side, and it's not going to kill.
One of the few times he misses on that.
And one of the few times that he goes to the right-hand corner. He likes to go to that left-hand corner because the right foot will follow through. We'll be back.
Today, you're reaching out for the best things in life. And Mercury is reaching farther, too. You can see it in the sophisticated shape of the new Mercury Sable and all the Mercury cars. They're shaped to use the wind to help them hold the road, no matter how high you climb. Mercury, the shape you want to be in.
That spicy barbecue buffalo burger has started to send you smoke signals. Alka-Seltzer to the rescue. Alka-Seltzer relieves the acid indigestion that's hot on your trail and also quiets the tom-toms in your head. So when your stomach and head go on the warpath, send Alka-Seltzer to the rescue and bring peace to your body fast.
Alka-Seltzer to the rescue.
Today's game is brought to you by Mercury Cars, the shape you want to be in. By Diet Coke and caffeine-free Diet Coke, just for the taste of it, Diet Coke. And by Radio Shack, a division of the Tandy Corporation.
This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen with 10 minutes, 36 seconds. That is the time remaining. We're in the third quarter in the Kingdome. The Seattle Seahawks leading the Los Angeles Raiders 26-0. Seattle from their own 20-yard line. Here's Kurt Warner. And there is no gain. Well, they may give him a yard to the 21. Howie Long was there to greet him. Now, starting today on the left, that was the standings in the West. 6-2, 6-2. Denver and the Raiders are tied for the lead. Seattle 4-4 struggling. Kansas City lost. San Diego 3-5 struggling, and they're leading. Well, this is really a mix and mingle, isn't it?
There's going to be an awful logjam up toward the top of this conference as the two leaders tumble, or apparently tumble here today.
If they do tumble, they'd both be tied at 6-3. Seattle back in it at 4-5. San Diego at 4-5 back in, and only Kansas City at 3-6 is, in reality, out of it right now. So Andre Hardy getting the call. A couple of yards to the 23, third down. So a very conservative start for Chuck Knox on offense, but you expect that because of their field position. The basic thing as we look at Dave Craig's statistics the last 2 weeks and today is that Chuck Knox in his own end of the end zone, very conservative. And he gets the ball past the 50-yard line, he will start to open up. When he gets inside of the 30, he'll go to the end zone because he feels that he already has the 3 points in his pocket with his field goal kicker. And that's the book on him. And he doesn't change that much, as you know. Third down and 7. Craig chased out of the pocket. Here comes Howie Long. Throws. Diving for it is Steve Largent. And he may not pick up the first down. Let's see where they mark it.
He's short, I believe. Had to come back to the football. I mentioned that earlier. When your quarterback's in trouble, you've got to drive back toward the quarterback. Otherwise, you're liable to get an interception. But Largent, I think, had to come back too far. All a matter of marking the football, and I believe we're going to see a punt here, Charlie. Chance to watch the play yourselves here. Craig able to use his mobility to get a little extra time here, and throwing against his arm. I mean, running to his left, throwing from the right side. Very difficult. Of course, you can see where Largent ended up, and it was short of the...
And they had a flag. It was right on it, and so they had a flag. So it must have been the first down because they take the penalty. It was illegal motion on the call against Seattle, so the ball goes back to the 18-yard line. So he may have been on the marker.
He may have been on it then.
On it with the mark, and that's the reason. Third down and 12 from the 18-yard line. Here's pressure. And more pressure. And Bill Packel gets him. Let's go to New York, NFL 85.
All right, Charlie Jones. In San Diego, a bit of a halfback option. Lionel James takes the handoff, pitches back to Gary Anderson, who hurdles one guy, runs 16 yards, touchdown. San Diego leads Denver 24-3.
I have a feeling in that ball game, the offense doing it for San Diego, and here the defense special teams doing it for Seattle.
Well, you do it any way you can get it done, Charlie.
It all counts. The Pincer kicking to Fulton Walker. The Raiders have good field position. Good kick. Woo! Driving Walker back to the 31-yard line. And he has 11 yards on the return. 52 yards on the kick. Shelton Robinson with the tackle. And we'll be back.
Just for the fun of it, just for the run of it, the number one of it, Diet Coke. Just for the style of it, just for the hope of it, the real golden taste of it, Diet Coke. Just for the swing of it, just for the just for the cool of it, Diet Coke. Just for the look of it, from Coca-Cola, just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
This year, I needed to give a real family pleaser.
Honey, please, help me with this budget.
How about a new game, Dad? Please.
And I found it. Radio Shack's Color Computer 2. On sale for just $88. It entertains, educates, manages. It's expandable and affordable. Now that really pleases me.
The Color Computer 2. Sale price for Christmas. Only at Radio Shack.
Stay on top, quick feet. Oh, that's good for.
Man, I tell you, now that's tough to get the hang of.
So is that smokeless tobacco, Walt.
Go long cut now, it's real easy to use. Why don't you give it a try? Long cut means it packs easy, so it stays put between the sheet and gun.
Not moving around.
Yep, Skull Long Cut makes it real easy to enjoy tobacco without lighting up.
Got a nice taste to it.
And it comes in wintergreen or mint. Easy to use, great taste. That's Go Long Cut.
It's as easy as falling off a log. Walt?
The NFL plays here when the Jets battle the Dolphins. Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 85.
Now, Merle, now you've been holding this. You can knock my head off with it. It's rubber. That's all I know. But what is this? You've been having it the whole ball game. You wouldn't tell me.
Van McElroy is wearing one like this. We talked about his hamstring being hurt. He has this strapped on the back of his leg to try to take some of the pressure off of that hamstring. It's a giant elastic. It helps the leg bounce back, which is something that the Raiders desperately need to do. Maybe we can put one of these on the Raider team so that they can bounce back here in the second half, Charlie.
Well, I could use it on my throat if it gets sore. No, I didn't know they did that. That's a good point. Thank you. Wilson wobbly high but complete to Jesse Hester. It was a first down at the Los Angeles 42, and they pick up a quick 22 yards on the play. The best starting field position the Raiders have had today. Long afternoon for Lester.
Long afternoon for Lester. And just to finish the story on that elastic band, we haven't seen much of McElroy as this game has gone a little bit sour. In fact, a lot sour for the Raiders. But right now, a chance for Mark Wilson and this offensive unit to get something going. They have not been able to do it so far in this ball game. Still a lot of time left, but you got to get a touchdown.
DeMarcus Allen, incomplete.
One of the problems that the Raiders have had today is they're getting very physical treatment on the line of scrimmage. Easily, 45, just knocking Todd Christensen, trying to keep him on the ball. Christensen fighting to get off of the line, but you got to believe that's total frustration. That breaks the pattern. That really makes it difficult for quarterback and receivers.
One of the key matchups is Todd Christensen, as Kenny Easley has been with him. And Christensen has 3 receptions for 23 yards. Here's Marcus, has room outside, and has the first down as he just plows to the 22. Maybe they may mark it at the 23-yard line, but it's the first down. Greg Gaines is the man who got him. This just one little note on this rubber piece of hamstring. This looks like a rubber hose. Is that what it is?
It's like an inner tube almost, Charlie.
No?
Just a giant rubber band. George Anderson, the trainer for the Raiders, smiled. He said, this is an old trick. He said, we used it 2 years ago on Todd Christensen's leg in the drive for the Super Bowl. We used it on Tom Flores when he was the quarterback. There's McElroy, the man who has the rubber band in place on his left hamstring right now.
The officials mark it at the 21-yard line. Seattle territory. And here come the Raiders. This one is complete to Jesse Hester. And he is brought down by Dave Brown.
Boy, those yards are tough against the Seahawks defense today. They'd started the year a little down. In fact, they were giving up an average of 28 points a game after 6 games. The last 2 games, they've only given up a total of 30 points in those 2 games. So they've really bounced back. And, of course, today have been perfect on the scoreboard.
A gain of 10 to the 11-yard line, first down. Seattle leads at 26-0. We're in the middle, past the midpoint of the third quarter, 6:18 and counting. That is the time remaining. And now the Raiders take a timeout.
Wilson uncertain about something out there, and rather than jeopardize this scoring opportunity, comes to the sideline.
I love your beautiful script, sweetheart. But forget that artsy guy with the beard. We'll have Rex direct.
I love the script, sweetheart.
He's box office.
Forget it. Trust me.
Come on, let's
get it.
We shaped today's Mercury Cougar to help it hold the road, no matter which road you choose. Mercury, the shape you want to be in.
This electronic timer will show how fast Chloraseptic can relieve sore throat pain.
My throat's really red, I'm sure, and it has a raw feeling to it.
Will you try Chloraseptic?
Yes.
Now watch the timer.
Oh, it numbs it. It's fantastic. It's like somebody's coated it with a medication.
With doctor-recommended Chloraseptic, relief is just seconds away.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember with the network premiere of the Kapalua International. One of the world's richest tournaments has drawn the always unpredictable Lee Trevino and an international field of golfers to the beautiful shores of Maui. The Kapalua International makes it a November to remember on NBC.
There are Seahawk fans, and then there are Seahawk fans.
There are more today than there have been on some other days here, Charlie.
We talked about this in the first half, and they had a problem with it in the Green Bay-Chicago game. That is the noise factor. And they just stopped the clock. Clock stays at 6:18. 30-second clock stays at 30 seconds.
They'll keep the offense on the line and just wait. Offensive line coach Sam Bogosian waiting patiently beside Tom Flores. Not the kind of day they like to wait on. They want to get something going there, Charlie.
And in the first half, the wait covered 2 minutes and 20 seconds. 2:20 was the time in the first half. Marcus Allen has reached the 100-yard rushing, 101 in rushing for Marcus Allen.
Seventh time this year he's been over 100, Charlie. Here are the numbers on the day. 5 receptions for Marcus along with his 101. He's got 49 yards there. A good day for him. Warner, and we thought that this might reflect the control of the game. does not reflect the control of the game, and that number is likely to change. Raiders have never lost with Marcus over 100 yards. But boy, they got to get themselves on track here in a hurry, or that is going to be 10-1.
And Kurt Warner has one other number. He has one touchdown receiving. From the 11. Sack. Fourth one.
Twice in a row, Charlie. After waiting so long at the line of scrimmage, Mark Wilson has dropped back and has been sacked. Michael Jackson, we saw him leave the field earlier with a cramp. He's back in there. Mark Wilson unable to find an open receiver, but the blitz had him right over the top of Ralph Hawkins. Frank Hawkins, number 27. 4 times today they've had him on the ground.
The crowd delay on the noise a moment ago was 1 minute and 50 seconds, and we're into it again.
Mark better be careful. He signaled timeout. He doesn't want timeout. He just wants the official to come in and stop things. And this is, Charlie, I really think the NFL, and I said it earlier in the game, is going to have to address the noise problem. Even though it's a difficult issue for the officials, you can't allow the crowd to take over the game.
And it, of course, is being amplified by the Dome Stadium. And naturally, the teams that have the domes as their home field, they don't want to change the rule, but it's to their advantage. I agree with you.
Part of the home field advantage. And we might talk about it again. The college rule is very simple. You see what Knox wants. He said, hey, let's not ruin this thing. We got a big lead. Mark's going to get a chance to go here.
Second and 21 at the 22-yard line. Scramble, he fumbles the ball. He has hit the ball. Is loose. It may have come right back to Mark Wilson.
Mark got it back. And Marcus Allen is down on the far side of the field. I don't know how he was hurt on the play, but he's not working or not moving very fast, and neither is Wilson. And, of course, we mentioned that Wilson is coming off a sprained ankle, had a partially separated shoulder. He's badly beaten up. Marcus is finally up. I think he may have been blocked on that last play.
I know he went right to one of the officials and was complaining about something, and he is still limping.
Wilson stumbles on the turf, catches the toe. That's easy to do, and in the process of gaining his balance, lost the football. He picks it up again. That's Keith Simpson, 42, that hammered him early. The Raiders maintain control of the football, but it's going to be 3rd and long. Marcus, we saw him limp off once earlier. He's going back, I think, into the ball game.
The play picked up 10 yards to the 12-yard line, so it's 3rd down and 11. And Marcus was really complaining. We did not see what happened. All of a sudden, he was down on his knees. And when he came up limping, he came right to the official on the far side and was complaining about it. But we also talked about that, is that the Raiders, as part of their mystique, are intimidators. And the Seahawks have always felt they could stay at least even in that category, or maybe a little on the plus side as far as intimidation when these two teams meet.
Well, they've not been intimidated today, Charlie, and the contact has been brisk and brutal. You see the Raiders huddling around Flores there, and there goes Rusty Hilger, the backup quarterback.
Rookie from Oklahoma State, taken in the 6th round of the draft. 25% completion average. He's thrown only 8 times, completed 2 of 8, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He has been sacked 1 time.
Does he look a little young in that picture,
He looks like he's about 12 years old. We saw him before the game down the field. And there was like a peewee football game. We thought maybe he was playing for one of those teams.
Well, they like him. They think he has real potential for the NFL, but this is a tough situation to come in. You're down 26-0. You've got to fight this crowd, and Rusty's saying the same thing that Mark did. How the heck do we hear down here? There's no way. Well, you got to help him buckle his helmet. He doesn't get out there very often.
Now, Hilger may be in there to save a timeout. Wilson injured rather than if he stays in,
maybe just
to stop the clock because of the injury, may just be a single play.
I think you're right. He has to come off for a single play. Although I would have to seriously consider, if I were Tom Flores,
keeping him in.
The reason for sending Mark back into the game, at least maybe not now, but before too long, because Mark is operating already with an injured ankle and an injured shoulder. You don't want to have him hurt for the rest of the season.
Yes, well, that's true. And Mark has been playing with those injuries. He's really been playing hurt. And here comes the crowd. And this pass is way underthrown.
And Wilson will be going back onto the field. Rusty never did get his chin strap fucked up. Well, that's a tough situation for a young rookie. It's fourth down. Mark will not be coming back onto the field. The field goal team will be out.
He's there to hold for the field goal.
One thing we can look at is this field goal team is on the field, and Wilson goes out because he's the holder. I talked to the two kickers about their kicking style, and Norm Johnson said he starts his movement toward the ball as the ball is snapped. Barr does not start his movement toward the ball until it hits the hands of his holder, which means he is slightly slower. That block earlier may have come from that slight delay. Watch him. He's looking down at the spot.
30 yards away. And it is good, and the Raiders are finally on the board. The score is 26-3 with 5:14 left in the third.
Though in reality you can't hear them, different computers speak different languages, which has been known to create a communications problem. That's why more and more companies are hooking up to our international Telenet network. Telenet enables different types of computers to speak the same language. G. No. GTE.
This bug's for all that you do. You keep America going. You keep the juices flowing. You are the muscle, the hope and the hustle. You keep the country growing, and you make America work, and this bug's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This bug's for you.
Direct from the future comes the Canon T70. The T70, sleeker to hold, simpler to handle. Controls are now touch button. Data crystal clearly displayed. Film advance built in. The Canon T70.
Of the statue that was dedicated to...
The button. The Canon T70. Touch the future now.
Canon, the photographic consultant to the National Football League.
America's favorite pastime returns to NBC as the nation's top rollers battle it out for the decade Earl Anthony for the PBA Fall Tour. Next Saturday on NBC.
Mark Wilson, the sideline, appears to be all right. I believe that there was our call was right that Hilger was in just for the one play to save the injury timeout. And now Chris Barr with the 3 points, and it's a 26-3 ball game kicking off. And Randall Morris from the 4-yard line. And Randall returns to the 20-yard line where Seattle will go to work. Stacy Turan makes the tackle. It's a final, New England 17, Miami 13. These are the early games, Pittsburgh winning by 1. Washington wins big over Atlanta. Chicago edging Green Bay. Tough physical ball game. Houston by 3. Kansas City. Houston's coming back. Kansas City sliding. Minnesota defeating Detroit by 3. Detroit has problems on the road. Giants by 2 over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay continue to stay close. Cincinnati wins. Seattle now from their own 20. Seahawks leading here 26-3. Just over 5 minutes to go in the third. Craig, a little swing out to the right flat to Kurt Warner. And he'll pick up about 5 yards on the play. It'll be second down and 5. Mike Haynes makes the tackle. San Diego way out in front of Denver, 27-3. A lot of surprises. Jets out in front of Indianapolis. That's no surprise. San Francisco in front of the Eagles, 24-13 in the fourth quarter. Rams have stretched that margin. They've been leading by 7 most of the game. Now they lead by 14. And here's the score in the Kingdom.
I think this one's going to go down along with some of the other big upsets of this season. This has been a strange year, Charlie.
Every week we say upset Sunday, upset Sunday. And Warner close to the 30-yard line.
Charlie, last week after that big game, Monday night game against the Chargers, they asked Howie Long if he'd like to be up here. He said, what do you think about the Seattle Seahawks game? Howie was pretty verbal. He said, hey, we play Seattle next, and I can't wait to get up there. I love the Kingdom. I want the Seahawks bad. They line up, I play them tomorrow. Well, I think occasionally you say things in the heat of the moment, and Howie's a very verbal guy, and he'll tell you what he thinks. He'd just as soon retract those words about right now, I believe.
I want to ask you about those kind of words, newspaper quotes. Warner's sliding for the first down, needed a yard, and he got it to the 31. So the Seahawks will retain possession. Howie Long makes the tackle now. Does that you know the other team's going to get them. They're going to post them up.
You see Howie getting sandwiched in there while I answer your question. They had about 4 guys on him that time, Charlie. There's no question that that was posted. That quote was posted on we saw it yesterday in Seattle's locker room, and I think occasionally it does get people excited. But I'll tell you, the players on a winning team read the papers. On a losing team, don't read the papers.
Well, that's interesting.
Charlie, this goes on. Another one of the stats that you wouldn't believe if you looked at the scoreboard. The fact that the Raiders have controlled the football. They controlled in first downs. They lead in yardage. They everywhere except on the scoreboard. That's not much consolation to Tom Flores, to Al Davis, and to the rest of these Raiders.
That's right. Tomorrow, if you read the game story in the agate type in the back of the newspaper, you won't believe the final score. Here's Andre Hardy, the ball carrier. Flag is down on the far side. Pickup of a yard.
Knox has gone back to a very conservative philosophy, hammering, running game, trying to take the yardage, take the clock.
Tonight on NBC, Punky Brewster, Silver Spoon. I want to mention this. Steven Spielberg's amazing stories. Now, I tell you, this is a special one, a 1 hour, and it's The Mission, created and directed by Steven Spielberg. And we followed by the Sunday night movie 48 Hours. But Steven, this is really, really great. Watch tonight. Watch tonight. Do me a favor and do yourself a favor. Really a good one. First down and 5. Here's Kurt Warner, 41-yard line. This will be close to the first down. Bill Purcell with the tackle.
Charlie, one of the things you have to respect about a team that's behind on the board is that they don't quit. Now, we talked about Howie Long. We've shown him early on a lot of plays. Here they are way down. He's getting a lot of heat right now. Look at him handling Kreider on the inside, driving all the way down in to get a piece of that tackle. This Raider defense hasn't quit. In fact, the Raider offense hasn't quit. It just has not been their day. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Seattle. They have earned this victory, and they have played very well. But it's been one of those days that the ball has bounced in their favor all day long.
Just an inch. Just an inch. Now, you've been in games like this when you were playing with the Rams, and the Rams they would win like this and everything.
Or lose, Charlie. I've been on more losing sides.
But first, I mean, when you were on the winning side, what is the feeling? Is it just
you want it right now, Charlie, for the Seahawks? Yeah. They just want this game to be over. They don't want anything to change on the scoreboard. They want to be out of it. For the Raiders, they've almost put this game behind them. They're a mature team. This is not going to destroy their season. They're going to go back and look pretty hard at the films because they don't want it to happen again.
Here's Kurt Warner.
Charlie, just reflecting back, and you remind me of a game. We played the Raiders once. What was it, Ewell Field that they used to play at?
Yes, Frank Ewell Field.
Frank Ewell Field. We got up there, and I think it was either Ewell Field or maybe at Stanford, an early game. And I looked up on the scoreboard, and we're in the first quarter, and we're down about 24-0. And I said, how did they get all those points? And it was one of those days that I felt, I think, much as the Raiders feel here today. Wait a minute, I don't remember this happening in the game.
First down at the 43-yard line. The clock continues. 1:42 and counting. We're in the third quarter. Timing pattern. He's open, and it's way overthrown. Largent, little head fake, and he got behind Mike Haynes. And it's a timing pattern like you throw in the corner of the end zone, but this is out in the middle of the field.
Largent again showing you those magic feet. Mike Haynes saying, boy, I'm glad that one was thrown a little bit too far. Of course, the end result, an incompletion. The Seahawks have not done anything offensively here in the second half, and for the Raiders, unfortunately, neither has their offense. So it's really been a defensive struggle. Both offenses unable to make a heck of a lot of headway.
2nd and 10. Over the middle to the tight end, Charlie Young, and the pass is incomplete. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 at the 43-yard line, stopping the clock with 1:33 to go in the 3rd. And that is Mike Davis.
Davis has been in on the blitz several times today. He has the lone sack among the defensive backs of this Raider team. They have 10 different players with sacks. They've come from a lot of different directions to get the quarterback. Unfortunately, they've not been able to do a heck of a job on much of a job on Craig today, with just 2 sacks on the day.
And the fact that Mike Davis has an only sack in the secondary, I think, really shows the pressure that defensive front 3 or defensive front 4, when they go to that alignment, puts on the quarterback.
And a lot of linebackers coming too, Charlie.
Thrown to Largent, thrown low, the only place he could avoid.
I think it bounced into his hands, Charlie. I think they may steal that one. I think it bounced up. Are they going to give it to him?
I think so.
I think it came off the ground.
Well, watch the face of Steve Largent. You might be able to see if he has a smile.
The wide shot here. Craig out of the shotgun. Just see the little play by Largent, who'll go down and then hook back into the open area. Well, not an easy angle. We have another shot here. This one might be better for you. Well, we still can't see. That one looks more like a catch than what it looked like from here, Charlie.
14 yards, Largent's 3rd reception. He has 3 for 47. First down at the Raider 43, and the clock moves. 39 and counting, 3rd quarter. There's a timing pattern again. This one to Darrell Turner, and he couldn't quite get there. And he was working on Mike Haynes. And what they're doing, Craig is just coming back. They're just going like a little rainbow out there, knowing that it is deep enough behind the receiver, rather behind the defender. The defender cannot get there. Hopefully, the receiver can.
One of the reasons that Seattle has had 2 bad games offensively in the last 2 weeks, not today, is an injury to Turner. Turner has been their deep threat. 8 touchdowns so far on the season coming into today. And the kind of guy that can get behind a defense. Hurt his toe. Really tore it up catching a 54-yard bomb about 3 weeks ago. And he has not been able to go at full speed. Told me in practice yesterday he was 100%, but he looks like he's limping a little now, Charlie.
Craig throwing deep to the end zone. And a flag was dropped at the 31-yard line. Lester Hayes picking up Largent. Marker dropped at the 31 on the far side. There's the conference.
They're only allowed to bump in that initial 5-yard zone. And I believe somebody bumped down there down the field. Now, could be Lester Hayes, could be Largent. Largent's not above using his hips a little bit. Well, they say
offsides and pass interference. And Hayes.
I wonder if Lester lined up offside. Lester wants confirmation from the official.
Oh, yeah. You know, when Lester came into the league, he had a speech impediment and really was very shy and wouldn't talk about it. And he's worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. And is greatly overcome. Now he talks to everybody. He'll talk to opposing
players. Number 37 defense offside. Penalty is declined. Illegal contact. Number 37.
Well, he got him twice.
5 yards, first down.
Watch Largent's eyes as he works one-on-one, and you'll see there, I think, is the bump as they head downfield. No, that's the one they called.
Yes.
You can't bump them after they leave that 5-yard zone, but watch Largent look at that football, knew he couldn't get to it, and was not going to give Lester a chance at it, just dropped his eyes away. But you see him all the way down the field, keeping an eye on Craig and on that football.
And Lester does give great quotes. Claiming to be clairvoyant. Going deep to Turner. He gets it.
Well, I think if you're Bob Zeman, who calls the defenses for these Los Angeles Raiders, you say, well, you might as well get that one too. The ball is underthrown. The ball drops into the hands of Mike Haynes right here. And out of the hands of Haynes, off his shoulder pad, and it's a touchdown. Hey, some of those bounce to you and some bounce away. Today, they bounce into the Seahawks, and the Seahawks and their fans are elated.
An 80-yard drive in 12 plays. That's been the only drive of any consequence as far as yardage is concerned for the Seahawks. Bad snap, and it is recovered, but there are 3-4 flags down, so it's not doing anything until the flags are sorted out.
Charlie, when we talked to Chuck Knox, he talked about going deep in this game today, and he said, we know the odds aren't good. We'll go deep 10 times. We may only get 4 of those shots, but some of them are going to count. Well, he's turned out to be prophetic today. They have gotten the deep shots today. I'll tell you, it will make future opponents of the Seahawks sit down and study this film today. That's a frustrating thing. Mike knows it. He had that football in his hand.
Perfect position, played it just right.
12 men on the field on the defense.
Well, that's one way.
Offside.
You can't beat him with 11, go to 12.
And they were offsides to boot. So we'll try the extra point again. .22 seconds left to go in the third quarter. It is now Seattle 33 and the Raiders 3. And the face of Mike Haynes tells the story of Los Angeles.
Watch this angle of that last play. You see the ball there right out of the hands of Mike Haynes. He touches it a second time. Now, usually when the ball bounces like that, it won't get it. You can't get your hands on it. But in this case, it stopped right in the arms of Darrell Turner. It looks like he's going to take him home with him. Right. Hey, they're going up to tell him he's going to take him in there and take the ball away from him.
And with all the color of the background of the pictures, it's like Haynes was run over by a rainbow, and they just kept on going.
Turner continues to amaze us, leads the league in average per catch, 19 career touchdowns on 55 receptions. Now, that's effectiveness.
Oh, that's in the neighborhood, right around the mark of a touchdown every three
tosses, he will come up with a touchdown. That's what a deep threat is all about.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he may have improved. He was averaging 24.1 yards per catch on 18 catches coming into the day. I think he may have improved. He may have improved his numbers today.
That one was 38 yards in the touchdown. Be sure to be with us next Sunday. Cleveland at Cincinnati, Pittsburgh at Kansas City, Seattle at New Orleans, Indianapolis at New England. And in addition, Houston at Buffalo. Dick Enberg back for the races, joining Merle in Miami for the Jet Miami game. And then the Raiders will be traveling a little further south from home against San Diego. Sam Seal downs the ball in the end zone. And the Raiders will start from their own 20-yard line.
The resurgence this week of the San Diego team. This has been a bounce back, bounce up, bounce down season, Charlie.
And San Diego had a short week, albeit they were at home. They didn't have to travel, but they had a short week also.
You know, I think one of the things that happened to you, when you have a very satisfying win, like the Raiders had last week against San Diego, you tend to get a little complacent. Maybe they did not work as hard in preparation for an injured Seahawk team as they needed to.
Mark Wilson, 15 of 30, 157 yards, 3 interceptions. He goes deep into coverage and another interception. Dave Brown.
That's the 4th interception of the day off Wilson. And Mark has got to wonder what has happened for this Raider offense. The 5th turnover of the day for the Seahawks as their defense has just ground up this Raider offense. Wilson trying to get it deep. And, of course, the anticipation very good. Looked like that ball slipped out of his hand a little bit and was underthrown. Jesse Hester, the intended receiver, all he was able to do was get there to tackle Dave Brown.
So Seattle goes to work at their own 40-yard line with 7 seconds to go in the third quarter. Andre Hardy gets the call. He'll pick up 2 to the 42. Bill Piquel with the tackle. And it'll be 2nd down and 8 as the gun sounds. So we have come to the end of the third quarter. It's 33-3. Back after these messages.
Tonight, the mission. The lives of 10 men rest in the power of one. Tonight, a special 1-hour episode. Amazing stories.
If you could move those famous legs a little, a fellow might be able to sit down.
Well, if it isn't Mr. Kelly. Watch your step, Sonny boy. These are new shoes.
Sonny boy? I gotta say, you're looking pretty turned out, kid.
Not bad for over on the road.
You know, Fred, you never stop traveling in style.
Come see what it's like to travel in style on Western Airlines.
It's the only way to fly.
Listen. Did you hear that? Or was it your imagination? The Panasonic VHS Hi-Fi gives you sound through your stereo so real, you'll wonder, is it a movie? Or is it in fact happening? Until you've seen the Panasonic VHS Hi-Fi. You haven't heard it all. VHS Hi-Fi video recorders from Panasonic.
Winter's rough around here. Behind every corner lurks the bite of another electric bill. Electric rates sneak up on you, and heating bills sting. So take control. Switch to natural gas. Costs up to 40% less than electricity. A high-efficiency gas furnace and water heater is easy to install. You make the choice. Gas makes sense. Call Washington Natural Gas today.
Count yourself in and vote in the general election.
The official attendance here today, 64,060.
They are elated at what's happened, but look at the numbers. You say if you control the football, rushing, if you control the clock, you should win the game. Well, the Raiders don't believe that, Charlie.
Second down and 8, Seattle at their own 42-yard line. And here's Kurt Warner. Has 4 yards to the 46. It'll be third down and 4 as Howie Long and Bill Piquel make the tackle on the play. The no-shows today, only 864, so in-house, 64,060. Second highest attendance ever here in Seattle.
I think if you're a Raider fan and you're sitting at home, you're certain that a few of the Raiders didn't show up for this one, Charlie.
Next week, the Raiders at San Diego. Seattle will be at New Orleans. Kurt Warner a couple of yards to the 48 before Reggie McKenzie meets him, and that'll be fourth down, and the punting team will come in.
Reggie McKenzie has certainly been a pleasant surprise for the Raiders.
10th round draft choice.
10th round pick. They really didn't project him into this lineup. Bob Nelson was hurt earlier. By the way, he practiced for the first time in pads just Thursday. He may be coming back soon, but McKenzie has really been a pleasant surprise. Has kept Jerry Robinson off the field, too.
Dave Finzer kicking to Fulton Walker. Walker has had...
snap. Whoa. They got him.
And a flag is down. That means that the Seahawks downing the ball as they hawk it down to the 27-yard line.
Lester wants to talk to the official. He left his helmet on the 27 and is going all the way down to talk to the official. He's saying he touched the football. The ball did not travel very far. Let's see if we can see it. A bad snap. Finzer's in trouble right from the beginning. Lester's not the one that hit him. James Davis, 45, is the one that bounced off of Finzer. Lester is still talking about the tap on the ball, but the officials say no. He got it away.
And it'll be a first down.
I hope somebody picked up Lester's helmet.
Yeah, they did.
Jerry Robinson got it for him.
Lester would talk to everybody. He was waiting to make sure the mic was off.
Well, and there goes a flag. I think maybe from a penalty against the sideline of the Raiders. The official's taking a little abuse here, I believe.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the Los Angeles bench.
Now, one thing you don't want to do is lose your cool. This is one game out of 16 in the regular season.
So with the two penalties, The officials will place the ball at the Los Angeles 33-yard line.
Charlie, we haven't dreamed this game, have we? This has been a very strange day.
It really has.
I'm sure it's been a bad dream for Lester and for these Raiders. A nightmare, in fact.
But a beautiful dream for the Seahawks.
Well, this is what they dreamed about all week long.
Here are the penalty yards penalized, 94 to 50. And here's Kurt Warner from the 33, just inside the 31-yard line. It'll be second down and around 8. John Jones with the tackle.
Well, they're still grinding it up on the line of scrimmage. Bill Pickell, 71, working on Blair Bush. Nose tackle, nose to nose. Bush just trying to keep him locked up. Pickell able to throw him at the last moment, get in on that play.
And we might re-mention the fact that Kurt Warner injured his ankle in the Jet game last week, did not practice this week. We're not really sure how long he could go. Thought maybe he'd have to bust some big plays because the ankle doesn't hurt that much. But he stayed right in there, and he's just been grinding out. And here's Kurt, jumps to the outside, and he'll lose yardage, goes out of bounds at the 33-yard line, so he'll lose a couple. It'll be third down and 10. Stacy Turan was there. This is updated, but not teams that are leading.
Now, this will include the finals of today. These are the teams in the AFC who are above 500. The Raiders, of course, at the top of that stack, along with Denver. Both of those teams in danger of losing today and behind.
They'll go 6-3.
The Jets are winning. The Jets are winning today. New England has won today. Miami losing today. That's a final. Seattle, of course, will improve that position off their performance today.
Craig with good protection. Comeback pass on the far side. Caught, and no, they're going to stay out of bounds. Byron Walker.
Walker, believing he had that one inbounds. The rule stays the same. Got to keep both feet down inside the line. 1 foot down in, the other one slightly outside of the mark.
And the punting team will come aboard. 12 minutes and 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. Seattle 33, the Raiders 3. Seattle led at the end of the first quarter 3-0. They led at halftime 26-0. The roof fell in on the Raiders in the second quarter. Seahawks scored at one point 19 points and had only one first down in that second quarter. Fulton Walker set for any kind of a return. Pitcher will be going for the corner.
He gets it.
Why not?
Why not?
When you're hot, you're hot.
It's been that kind of day, Charlie. It's been that kind of day.
There are some special things in this world that only a handful of people can appreciate. Now, maybe you're not one of these people. But if you are, spend some time getting to know Mazda's new RX-7. But I'll warn you, it'll flat spoil you for anything else.
Introducing Mazda's new generation RX-7. Its engine has the smoothest flow of power in the world. No one has a more advanced suspension system, and no one offers all this at this price.
It's pretty special, like you and me.
I thought this demonstration was just advertising, but Denorex tingles. Tells me it's doing more. Regular Head and Shoulders, no tingle.
Both have dandruff medicine, but Denorex adds an extra anti-itch medicine and conditioner, too.
Goodbye, Head and Shoulders. Hello, Denorex.
Now you can relieve inflamed hemorrhoidal tissue with the oxygen action of Preparation H. It accelerates absorption of pure oxygen to help shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissue, as it often relieves pain and itch for hours. Preparation H with oxygen action.
Warm moments on a cold winter night. Good conversation, easy and light. And how about something for your appetite? Let our gentle flame cook up something right. Warm moments for those warm moments. Nothing warms you like gas.
Warm is what natural gas is all about. Clean, efficient, in fact, America's best energy value. Shouldn't it be in your home?
Nothing warms you like gas.
The NFL plays here when the Jets battle the Dolphins.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 85.
In the NFC, Chicago won today, defeating Green Bay. The Rams still playing. That they are winning. Dallas plays tomorrow night. Giants won. Detroit lost at Minnesota. Washington won. Minnesota won. San Francisco and Philadelphia are playing each other.
San Francisco leading in that game, Charlie. So that kind of brings you up to date on the teams that are in contention and doing well at the midpoint in the season. And some real surprises. Young rookie Rusty Hilger. You saw him earlier for a single play, and this time he's got his chin strap buckled all the way down, Charlie. I hope he does. This is not a pleasant time for quarterbacks. All the defensive linemen know you got to throw the football, and they're coming wide open.
He throws quickly to the far side to Tim Moffitt. Has it out of bounds. First down for Tim Moffitt, his first reception in the National Football League. Look at the smile. You can tell. The eyes are sparkling, all right.
Rusty Hilger throwing a very nice pass, and you see there why they like this young man. Got a lot of composure, a very quick rifle arm, an accurate thrower. So they kept him, and a lot of people said, Rusty who? Let's come on, this is not the solution to your problem. But he is impressive.
15-yard line, first down. Of course, Jim Plunkett out with the injury. But Hilger, they kept him as the third quarter. I guess it's Cliff Branch. Should have caught it. Good pass. Branch, the fastest 37-year-old in the National Football League.
That's just rust, Charlie.
Yeah.
Let's watch the release of Rusty Hilger. We mentioned quick release, how important it is to a quarterback. Rusty coming right back into the camera from the snap by Don Mospar. Quickly looking around. That is quick. He guns that ball. Lifts it from his waist. I think the better quarterbacks, the quicker release, tend to hold the ball up higher. But Rusty doing a good job of getting that one off, and was a perfect pass.
It's now a final. San Francisco winning that ball game 24-13. The last score, Washington with a 36-yard field goal. And here's Kenny King. And he'll have 5 yards to the 20. Now, you made a statement, and I immediately agreed with you. And that was the fact, a tough slot for a quarterback, but for Rusty Hilger, a rookie, hey, this is a nice time. Let's get in. Let's play. Let's get some action. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the New York Jet and the Indianapolis Colt game here in the fourth quarter. Seattle 33 and the Raiders 3. We have 11 minutes and 40 seconds still left in this game. I'm Charlie Jones along with Merlin Olsen, and it's been another game on Upset Sunday. Hilger going deep, and it is caught, but out of bounds. Tim Moffitt had it, but was not in the field of play.
Moffitt showing you fine speed. The Seattle Seahawks employing 7 DBs. 2 of them are close by, Easley and Taylor. But Moffitt got his hands on that football. The official right there to say, hey, the 2 feet were not in bounds. Won't give it to Easley. May have cramps. I think he's got cramps up in his hamstring area. They'll take him to the sideline. Jim Weitzel, the trainer, right there with him. That's what it is. You see him grabbing that leg. That's just fatigue and too much running on the day for Easley.
You saw that Jet final, 35-17. O'Brien with 3 touchdown passes. Here's Ray Guy to kick. Paul Scansey at the 41-yard line. 9-yard return to the 50. 39 yards on the kick by Ray Guy. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Florida Everglades and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. The Everglades means airboating, as close as you can get to flying without leaving the ground. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place in Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
Hey, guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
Hey, could I tap some of your computer expertise, son?
So you finally gave in?
Yeah, for starters, how does the disk fit into the disk drive?
Okay, the Army can train you to program, operate, or fix computers.
What does the printer interface do?
It lets the computer talk to the printer.
They talk to each other. What do they say?
And then there's a telephone modem hookup.
And the computer training you get is yours forever.
Like you're not going to be the only computer expert in the family.
If you think there's no room for improvement in small trucks today, then go let the dog out. Because you wouldn't want to know about Mazda's new Cab Plus. A small truck that's really big inside.
Introducing Mazda's all-new B2000 Cab Plus. One of the roomiest cabs in its class, includes room back here for 2 adults, plus unusual levels of quietness, ride, and handling. It's also the lowest-priced extended cab truck by hundreds.
You wouldn't know anybody who would want something this special, would you?
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when the starter's flag drops on the inaugural running of the CART Miami Indy Challenge. Racing's hottest drivers, Mario Andretti, the Unsers, and Indy champion Danny Sullivan battle it out for the national championship. A November to remember on NBC.
We'd like to welcome those of you that have been watching the Denver-San Diego game. We're in the Kingdome with a lot of time remaining, 11 minutes and 17 seconds. Still remaining, flags are flying in the ball game between the Los Angeles Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks. Here's the final score, San Diego winning it 30-10 over Denver. Here it is Seattle 33 and the Los Angeles Raiders 3.
A surprising day for San Diego as they knocked off leading Denver, and here in Seattle the same kind of day as the Seahawks have just managed to hammer a lot of points onto the board. There are the results of today added to the standings as we came into today, and some surprises, Charlie, to say the least.
Oh, yeah. First down and 15, the ball back at the 45-yard line. Here's Randall Morris. And they're going to mark him out of bounds on the far side at the 47-yard line.
Total yardage for the day. Now, this is the one you may have a hard time understanding. The Raiders have 272 yards on the day. The Seahawks have 174 on the day. And time of possession dramatically in favor of the Raiders. There it is, 28-35 to 20-08. And yet, you look at the scoreboard where the Raiders are looking at a 3, and the Seahawks have 10 times that many.
33-3. I'll give you a rundown of the scoring in just a moment. It has been a different afternoon of football. It has been a Seahawk afternoon. This is what they talk about here in the Great Northwest. Randall Morris. And Morris goes to the 41-yard line. He has 6. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Jerry Robinson makes the tackle. Ryder on the sideline being worked on. Now that's scoring. Norm Johnson opened it with a field goal. Craig DeWarner, 27 yards. It was set up by an excellent punt return, just a 27-yard drive in one play. 31-yard field goal. Byron Walker, 57 yards. Taylor, a blocked field goal attempt. He picked up the bounce and went in. Terry Taylor then with a 75-yard interception. A Craig DeTurner 38-yard pass, and just before that, a 30-yard field goal by Chris Barr. So the defense, special teams, turnovers, that has been the story for the Seahawks. It is 33-3. First down. Randall Morris has it at the 35-yard line.
Chuck Knox getting a chance to grind it out on the line of scrimmage. Randall Morris, who has not had a great deal of playing time this year, getting a chance to strut his stuff, hitting the hole quickly. And Charlie, the one thing that has not changed from the first of this game, these two teams are still hammering on each other. They probably like each other less at the end of this game than they did at the beginning of this game, and they didn't like each other when they started today.
Right. They are not exchanging Christmas cards this year. First down. And here is Randall Morris again, and he'll pick up a couple of yards to the 33-yard line. The flag was dropped on the far side, and that, of course, stops the clock.
Holding call will go against the Seahawks. Charlie, one of the things that Chuck Knox always talked about when he was my coach with the Rams, he talked about a winning edge. He said you got to be tougher, smarter, and in better condition than your opponent. Well, today, Knox has had the winning edge.
Offense, number 87, first down.
And they have been a little tougher and a little smarter. And at the end of this game, conditioning hurting both teams. You'll see players hanging their heads a little bit. Surprisingly enough, in a dome like this, you would think that conditioning would not be a problem, but the turf takes something out of you. An emotional game like this really drains the energy out of you. A lot of players having trouble right now with cramps. That's liquid loss, and that happens even in a dome like this.
First down and 18, the ball on the 43-yard line. And Randall Morris Morris gets the call again. Last week against the Jets, he ran for 88 yards, 23 carries. He was replacing Kurt Warner, who came out with the ankle injury last week. But Kurt playing the whole ball game, ankle injury and all today.
Here comes Randall again. And in some ways, with the good running showing last week, you would have believed that Seattle could have done better on the scoreboard than they did against the Jets. Well, they've turned the tape today, and in spite of not being able to control statistics, they certainly have controlled the one stat you need to have in your corner, and that's the scoreboard.
Kurt Warner. Well, what a comeback off of that knee operation a year and a half ago. Randall Morris.
Suddenly very quiet here in the Kingdom, Charlie. Yes. I think everyone is waiting. They're not going home. They're thrilled to see the Seahawks doing this to the Raiders. This crowd is also a crowd that does not like the Raider team. Right. And they're thrilled to see them on the short end of the scoreboard. They're going to stay here and enjoy every minute of it.
The Seahawks converting on turnovers, interception to a field goal, interception to a touchdown, fumble to a field goal, interception to a touchdown, and the fifth one, well, it ended up with a punt, so they weren't quite as successful. But that has been the story of the game. Third down and 11. And here's Randall Morris again. And he will go to the 31-yard line, so he has 5 yards. It'll be 4th down and 6. And, of course, the clock continues to move.
Charlie, those were very negative numbers, and the Raiders have not been able to deal with those turnovers today, but they have been able to deal with bad turnover nets in the past. In other words, you look at how many turnovers you have and how many you've gotten and how many you've given away. We call it a minus-plus ratio. Well, the Raiders, one of the only teams that I know of that have been able to survive the bad turnover ratios. In 1983, they won the Super Bowl. During the season, they were a minus 13 in that area.
That is amazing.
That's rather incredible.
Norm Johnson, a 49-yard field goal attempt. He is zeroing in. He got an upright last week, and he hits the bars again today.
Last week it was the left upright. Today it's the right-hand side.
No matter what unexpected problems should arise, Transamerica Property, Casualty, and Life Insurance can be there to protect you.
Hey, you big ape! Who's gonna pay for this mess?
Transamerica. Insurance, finance, manufacturing, transportation, innovation. The power of the pyramid is working for you.
Introducing a new, longer-lasting Energizer.
The new Energizer AA battery. It's supercharged.
Now, 48 more flash pictures than before.
It's supercharged.
No battery in the world outlasts it.
When you've got to go in ice and snow, you're gonna go with Prestone.
Driving just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze can leave a radiator looking this bad, while the Prestone radiator looks this good.
America goes with Prestone.
Shrimp with lobster sauce. Shrimp with lobster sauce. And roast pork lo mein. Roast pork lo mein.
Ever since Benihana introduced their frozen Oriental entrees, people have been saying 8 is not enough. So we've introduced 4 more. Shrimp and lobster sauce, Szechuan beef, roast pork lo mein, roast pork with Chinese vegetables. Benihana's taken your favorite Oriental restaurant food and put it where it belongs, at home.
More mail.
Benihana. We either make them great or we don't make them at all.
Today's game is brought to you by Audi, the art of engineering. By Transamerica, for insurance and financial services. The power of the pyramid is working for you. And by Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
7 minutes and 3 seconds left to go in the ballgame. Mark Wilson on the sideline, being replaced by the rookie Rusty Hilger, only because of the fact that the Raiders are out of this ballgame. Hilger back to throw. Flag is down, and Hilger is down at the 35-yard line. Fred Young makes the tackle. We'll go back and check out the flag. Going to be holding on Bruce Davis. 3rd time in the ballgame that he's been caught. Here's the reaction of Norm Johnson. Wants it to hook in from the right side.
Looked like it started, Charlie. It just didn't quite continue on.
And his reaction.
seems to wait forever.
Oh, it does. Oh, yeah.
It's been one of those years. One of those years for Norm Johnson. Such a dependable kicker. Last year went to the Pro Bowl. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a greater performance last year. And we said it earlier. He lost Zorn as his holder. Zorn, of course, starting in that game in Green Bay against Chicago today. Throwing for a touchdown today, playing well. But he is a great holder for field goals and extra points. And that confidence level is so important.
And I think that's something that you overlook when you think about the field goal kicker.
Well, he has never said a word about it. He's never said a word about it, but I'm sure he really misses it.
30-second clock ran down. For the delay of the game, and back from the 22 to the 17. And we first down in 25. Now the score here is Seattle 33 and the Raiders 3. If this score remains, this will become the worst Raider loss since 1981 when they were still in Oakland and San Diego beat them 55-21. That margin was 34 points. The margin here is 30 points. First and 25. Hilger's pressure from Green, and he's sacked. Jacob gets him his first sack in the 5th for the Seahawks.
Jacob is there. Nash is there. Randy Edwards is there. The Seahawks have sacked the quarterback 5 times today. They've had both Wilson and Hilger in there. You'll see Nash coming around from this side, and Jacob coming off the top gets away from Henry Lawrence. And the two of them are there to sandwich Rusty Hilger. Randy Edwards, 68, just completes a pile of 3 blue jerseys on top of him. There's Willie Brown, one of the great defensive backs in NFL history, Pro Bowler, or Hall of Famer. Didn't mean Pro Bowler, although he went to that too. He's got to be frustrated. Kind of day he'd like to throw on his uniform and go back on the field.
Kenny King, the ball carrier, and he just keeps coming. 27-yard line, 19 yards on the play, easily with the tackle. And it'll be 3rd down. While all this is going on the far sideline, we'll go back to a look at Kenny Easley, and I'll bring up my point on quarterback change for the Seahawks.
Easley directing traffic on that play and was late getting over into position, took a shot and missed the tackle. The Seahawks defense employing 7 defensive backs. They have used as many as 8 with 3 down linemen. Catlin, one of the bright coordinators in the league at putting those prevent packages up, right now has 4 defensive linemen and 7 defensive backs in the game.
And it's 3rd down and 15.
6 defensive backs. Gaines is in there as a linebacker.
Far side, the pass going to Tim Moffitt. 39-yard line. Tonight on NBC, we'll be starting with Silver Spoons at 8 o'clock, the Steven Spielberg Amazing Stories, and the big movie, 48 Hours, at 9 o'clock, NBC Sunday night movie. Raider Buster 2.
Well,
the Seahawks saga.
Steve Largent in that picture, and they have been tough on the Raiders, in particular under Chuck Knox.
And in particular here in the Dome.
He's
6'2" now.
They asked Tom Flores, they said, why do you play so badly in Seattle? And he said, boy, I don't know. And you watch this game, and it's as if there's an evil genie up here that just grabs them when they come into town and chokes them.
That may be it. That may be the whole key. Big guy kicking to Paul Scansey, and Scansey takes the fair catch. 42 yards on the punt. We've got a timeout, and the Seahawks have a 30-point lead.
The new 5000 series from Audi. The 5000 Turbo Quattro, Turbo, Sedan, Wagon. 5,000 reasons to own an Audi. Make that 5001. Now available with anti-lock braking systems. Audi, the art of engineering.
I'm going to give you a choice. A fabulous dinner with me or $1 million. Of course, this isn't just my generosity. It's part of Canada Dry's $1 million sweepstakes. I adore Canada Dry ginger ale. It's deliciously less sweet. And who wants to be sweet anyway? So have a Canada Dry ginger ale while you're mulling over this momentous decision. Me or $1 million.
For details, see the Canada Dry Joan Collins sweepstakes display in supermarkets.
Mr. Oakner, time for your conference call.
Get me Jackson and Peoria and find Bromley.
Today, businesses need phone systems that do more than handle calls. So ITT created System 3100.
Where's Bromley?
His calls were forwarded. I'll page him.
The ITT 3100 is a family of digital communication systems. It handles data and voice. It even grows with your business.
Mr. Oakner, it's the boss.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear. No, dear.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when the starter's flag drops on the inaugural running of the CART Miami Indy Challenge. Racing's hottest drivers, Mario Andretti, the Unsers, and Indy champion Danny Sullivan battle it out for the national championship. A November to remember on NBC.
The faces of the Raiders tell the story. Lester Hayes has lost all of his debates, and Mike Haynes even lost a football for an interception in the end zone that ended up a touchdown. The twists and turns of the National Football League. Seattle from their own 18-yard line. Gail Gilbert was loosening up on the sideline, but Dave Craig stays in. There's the time remaining, and now let's look at all the scores. New England defeating Miami in New England.
Miami's had a couple of bad weeks back-to-back.
Yes, they have. Pittsburgh by 1 over Cleveland. Miami will be hosting the Jets next week. Washington with the big win over Atlanta. Chicago by 6 over Green Bay. Kansas City's in trouble, and Houston's coming back. 23-20. Minnesota at home. Detroit losing. And we'll have more of the scores for you after the play. Second down and 3 at the 25-yard line. With a flag down. If the play stands, he will have the first down, but it will be against the Seahawks in more finals. The Giants by 2. Tampa Bay gets close, but that's it. Cincinnati, boy, they're strange. Hard to figure. They could be in the playoff picture. They keep coming back. 23-17. Here's one of those upsets that go right into upset Sunday, which is every Sunday in the National Football League this year. San Diego over Denver by 20 points. Jets defeat Indianapolis. San Francisco over Philadelphia. The Rams do it to New Orleans, 28-10. And here we still have 3:35 and counting. That is the time remaining.
Lots of threes on the board, and if you just tuned in, no, that is not an incorrect score. That is today's score. If you don't believe it, neither do the Raiders. They don't believe it either. And even the Seahawks have got to be smiling a little bit.
I think it's kind of one of those that you look around, you keep looking around at the...
Charlie, we talked about Jerry Robinson, new faces on the field. And there he is right there, number 57. They picked him up from Philadelphia. He wouldn't come in to play in Philadelphia. He wants to play in a Raider uniform. You see him getting a piece of the tackle there. Charlie, you said it earlier. Al Davis makes a couple of those moves every year. Players seem to be reborn here. Well, if he gets rolling as he's capable of rolling and gets into that lineup, it'll make this defense even tougher.
Randall Morris again getting the call. Earlier today, in the game between Chicago and Green Bay, the refrigerator caught a touchdown pass to go with the one on Monday night that he scored rushing. I'm wondering, would the Raiders have considered using Howie Long, or the Jets' Mark Gastineau?
You might see it with the kind of success Ditka's had with Perry.
Yes.
I asked Howie about that. I said, Howie, would you like to go into the backfield? Howie said, hey, I'll go back there and block. But he said, I don't want to carry the ball. I might fumble it. So, and I said, I asked you too about, there's Howie on the sideline. They're giving him a rest now. I asked him about playing linebacker position like Gastineau does. He said, no. I said, I'll let the guy in New York do that. So.
AT&T, the right choice. In a 1985 showdown, the Rams' undefeated streak is placed in jeopardy by Viking Darren Nelson's carry to the Rams' 1. With 1 second left and up by 3, should the Ram defense key on Nelson once more or look for a play-action pass? What would you do?
AT&T is in a little business.
Well, the market is really moving.
We're helping the New England Shrimp Company.
Oh, we can lock you in at that price.
Use AT&T Watts and 800 service to turn the little shrimp
30,000 pounds a month for the next 6 months.
into big business. We can help your business in ways you never thought of.
Now you're booked.
AT&T Long Distance Services. Talk with us. AT&T, the right choice.
What did you decide? The Ram defense geared up for Nelson and nailed him short of the goal line. L.A. stayed undefeated at 5-0 atop their division. The Ram defense made the right choice.
When they write the story of this game, what do you say?
Well, you certainly say that it was not a day for the Raiders, Charlie, and it's the kind of day you really don't want to believe if you're a Seahawk, because you can't read more into this game than there is there. Chuck Knox said it very well. He said, you're never as good as or as bad as a game like this, and it's something both teams have to remember. The Seahawks walk away with a very happy win. They needed this win. Their backs were against the wall. They got it. The Raiders, on the other hand, are embarrassed in this game. And they've got to go home and get it back together. But they won 5 in a row coming into this game. You can't forget that either, Charlie.
So in reality, they both benefit.
Well, I don't know if the Raiders would agree with that statement. Certainly the Seahawks benefit. They were down. They're hurt. They were counted out by everyone, Charlie. Not expected to be in this game. And here they are not only winning, but dominating this game. This has to give them new life for the second half of the season. The Raiders, on the other hand, they're going to have to write it off, put it behind them, and get on with their work.
Dave Fincher kicking. Fulton Walker is set for the return. The Raiders will have good field position. Good kick. Really hangs this one up. Backs him off to the 36-yard line, to the 40. And goes out of bounds. A 46-yard kick and a 4-yard return. We've got a timeout. Back in a moment.
Aha. There's a thief in this attic. This skimpy amount of insulation can rob you blind on your fuel bill.
Fight back with the attic blanket from Owens Corning. It's the thickest, most powerful roll of thermal protection you can have. It can help you save money on your fuel bills.
It is an open and shut case.
Owens Corning. Our building products put your house in the pink.
Listen to the sound of a closer, smoother shave. Williams Electric Shave sets up my beard, so my shaver shaves closer, and I get a smoother shave. Listen to Williams Electric Shave. The sound of a closer, smoother shave.
Huh, you're wearing this because of your new secretary.
Me? New improved Ice Blue Aqua Velva cools better, makes my face feel great.
But that scent, it's sinful.
Lasts longer, too.
There's something about an ice blue aqua velva, man.
Soldier, we know you, courageous and brave. The country you honored, the flag that you waved. Soldier, we thank you. On Veterans Day, you're the pride of America.
From the people at Coors to America's veterans.
You're the pride of today.
The NFL plays here when the Jets battle the Dolphins.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 85.
Darryl Turner on the sideline. He scored a touchdown today. A chance for us now to thank our executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer for football, Ted Nathanson. Today's telecast produced by George Finkel, directed by Andy Rosenberg. NFL 85, produced by John J. Filippelli, directed by Bucky Gutz. Sal Nagita, the technical director, and Art Thieveridge. Been working on that, Art, getting closer and closer. Jeff Bryan, number 77. That is the 6th sack in the ball game for the Seahawks.
Familiar number back into the white uniform in the middle of that Raider line. Kurt Marsh, number 60, who's been out with a broken arm. Broke that right arm early in the year, and they are eager to get him back into the game, get him playing again. Some speculation that he may go in and get back into that starting lineup very soon. There he is, and when you see the other arm, there it is, almost a knee-type brace to give that arm support.
2nd and 23. And And Rusty Hilger goes out of bounds. I think he was just taking off. He never had time to look downfield. Let's look at the standings, and we're going to assume that Seattle is going to win this game. So here's what the West looks like. Raiders and Denver are tied, but now there's 6-3. Seattle's 5-4. They're just a step back. And then San Diego 4-5 and Kansas City 3-6. I would not have thought those would have been the figures today. Dave Craig.
Perhaps the most pleased individual in the room today, coming off two rather ugly performances, and he was terribly down when we saw him in New York after that Jets game. And I'll tell you, he's bounced back and played well today.
Yes, he has. But the Seahawks have played the type of football that they won with last year, and this is the games with Craig Lawsey had the bad games. Hilger getting away from the grass. And he battles his way out to the 33, 34-yard line.
Some of the toughest yards in football right there, running for your life. Very quiet here. It's one way to keep this crowd quiet, Charlie. If you're the Raiders, it's not the way you want to do it, and you get the feeling of frustration from Tom Flores. A lot of relaxation on the other side.
The Seahawks will be at New Orleans, New England at home, then at San Francisco, so they've got a...
Both these teams have tough schedules, Charlie. The Raiders with the third toughest schedule in the league. The Seahawks with the fifth toughest schedule in the league, according to the toughness of their opponents off last year's one-loss records.
Ray Guy kicking, and Scansey will chase it down the far side. The official was throwing his cap down the far sideline, and what that means is that one of the coverage men had stepped out of bounds and would not be eligible to make a play coming back in bounds. And that's when you see a cap go, that's what it means. 21 seconds left. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment.
The new BMW 735i has an ingenious anti-lock braking system for stopping power far beyond the merely adequate. A new 3.5-liter engine for considerably more than acceptable performance. And a suspension vastly better than good enough. The new 735i exceeds the acceptable in hundreds of ways. But then, it wasn't built to be adequate. It was built to be a BMW.
Like a lot of people.
As the clock continues on its inexorable march, the Seahawks just falling on the ball, running it out.
Well, if you're a Seattle Seahawk, you can't wait to celebrate. And if you're a Raider, there are two things you're worried about. Having to get back on that plane and go home, and having to look at the films tomorrow.
The final score, the Seattle Seahawks 33, the Los Angeles Raiders 3. This is Charlie Jones and Merlin Olsen. We'll be joining NFL 85 after these messages from your local station.
Like a lot of people, I'm taking better care of my body. Better care of my skin, too. With Skin Bracer Aftershave. Shaving is rough, so I use Skin Bracer. It cools and smooths skin. Tightens pores. That's the tingle. Smells great, too. But Skin Bracer's not cologne. It's skin care that feels good. That's why more men are saying, thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer, also in spice, takes care of men who take care of their skin. Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By men.
All right, Bob Costas back in New York one more time through the scoreboard before we say goodbye for this Sunday. In the game you have just seen, the Seahawks beat the Raiders 33-3, and things worked very well for the Seahawks today as they go to 5-4, and the Raiders and Broncos are each now 6-3. The Raiders' winning streak ended at 5, and the Broncos' streak ends at 4 as they're beaten at San Diego 30-10. So the Seahawks are within a game of the leaders. The Jets go to 7-2 and maintain a one-game lead on the Patriots in the AFC East. They won at Indianapolis 35-17. The NFL's leading rusher, Freeman McNeil, ran for 154 yards, and Ken O'Brien threw 3 touchdown passes. All right, let's catch up, boys. San Diego and Denver, 30-10. San Diego wins it. We can move it ahead to the Jet game, can't we? There we go, 35-17. The boys in the booth are going nuts, but you fellas know what's going on. All right, now we go to the next one. San Francisco, Philadelphia. San Francisco wins it by a score of 24-13. They played without Joe Montana, but they take their record over 500 to 5-4. The Rams beat New Orleans 28-10. Eric Dickerson ran for 108 yards, but he severely sprained his right ankle. It could be worse. We don't know for sure. He has been taken for x-rays as the Rams take their record to 8-1. New England trailed 13-3 at home in the fourth quarter, scored twice to come from behind to beat Miami 17-13. Pittsburgh beat Cleveland on Gary Anderson's 25-yard field goal with 10 seconds to play, 10-9. Cleveland is still yet to win in their history at Three Rivers Stadium, 0-16 there. Washington beat Atlanta 44-10 without the injured John Riggins. They didn't miss him. George Rogers ran for 124 yards and Keith Griffin 164 yards and 2 touchdowns for Washington. Chicago is 9-0, the NFL's only unbeaten team. They took Green Bay at Green Bay 16-10. Walter Payton had 192 yards, 4th straight week over 100. And yes, Refrigerator Perry scored another touchdown, this time on a 4-yard pass from Jim McMahon. Houston defeats Kansas City 23-20 on a late field goal by Tony Zendejas. Minnesota on a field goal by Jan Stenerud as time expired defeated the Lions 16-13. Both those clubs are now 5-4 in the NFC Central. The Giants got 5 field goals from Eric Schubert, took their record to 6-3 by beating Tampa Bay 22-20. If St. Louis upsets Dallas tomorrow night in St. Louis, the Giants would move into a first-place tie with the Cowboys in the NFC East. And Cincinnati beat Buffalo today 23-17. Coming up next, we'll join Silver Spoons in progress and then the rest of the NBC lineup for this Sunday.